disappointed in every one of you.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to offend you.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. Just, I'm sorry.
One more time.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate animals.
I'm disappointed in every one of you. Disappointed in every one of you.
All right, come on.
Honestly, I can't do it no more.
I'm disappointed in every one of you.
Let me tell you why.
It's gonna be all right, Nicky. Go ahead, shoot.
We just killed a fucking man.
What are you going to do about it?
You're happy because you got nothing. You don't got a thing. You're happy because you got nothing. Lobito! Got nothing.
I want to get out. I want to get out of this rat hole. I want to get online. I need
BDA boxing.
Welcome everybody to another Boxing Podcast, broadcasting to you live from the True North. As your good friend Mr. BDA, and alongside with me as always my co-host, the one, the only King, Bucho. King, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Listen fellas, we got a sensational show for everybody today. It's going to be a short one, relatively short one, but it's going to be jam-packed, I can guarantee you that. So stay tuned for your boxing entertainment needs. Before we get down to that though, let's get the business out of the way, fellas. Thanks to all the BDA Boxing members who have joined the membership program. Really appreciate it. You do have access to the emojis and the icons. If we get 3 more people, I believe, right, Bucho? I think if it's 3 more people, we unlock even more icons, so we can work on that. All I gotta do is export the Benavides film analysis, and I should actually be doing it today to add something to it. That way I can add more as we go along. But of course, the most important thing, fellas, is that you continue to contribute to the show by clicking the like button, subscribing if you haven't done so already, and just all around spreading the BDA gospel, the good cheer, the good word. Shout out to everybody in the chat room. Eric Teyes, Michael Poe, Triple JJJ says stay tuned, stay tuned. Iceman, Michael Poe, Ibir Estelar, Ting Chen. This motherfucker, I see him all the time on Thunderdome stream. He's always trolling. Official Scorecard Boxing, Kid Top Skull says Northeast Los, the True Nella. Orale carnal. Who else we have? Michael Poe donated the Super Chat, says it's my birthday and no better way to celebrate than to give to everyone else but yourself. Haha, kidding. Love doing it and it's a pleasure. Alright, fantastic, Michael Poe. Thank you. I don't know if it's really your birthday, but even if it isn't, happy birthday, Michael. How was it? Method Man said every day's my birthday because I'm gifted. Haha. Good attitude to have. GB Guthrie, shout out to GB Guthrie. Shout out to Triple G Goku. Endgame, shout out to Endgame, Iceman, and many more people to come. I'm sure, fellas, thank you for joining us. Listen, the reason why we're doing this episode, we're regrouping for the Guillermo Rigondeaux fight. You can't even call it a fight, right, Bucho? I mean, the debacle that was Rigondeaux Casimero.
That's the classic Rigondeaux.
Classic the Rigondeaux Grand Prix. No, but listen, because I was, surfing the internet, and then people come over and they go, hey, listen, Rapstar said something about you. I said, what? And I go over to Rapstar's channel. Now, he didn't mention us, but he showed the thumbnail that we did where we called Rigondeaux trash for his lousy performance. And, Rapstar, again, he didn't mention us, but he's intimated like, oh, this is a big channel. And this is the type of things that they're engaging in, calling fighters trash. In other words, he was criticizing us for daring to criticize Rigondeaux, which to me, it seems like, because we talked to Rapstar a while back when he came on here, and it was a nice discussion about whether we are allowed to call fighters bumps or not. He seems to be of the impression that you shouldn't call fighters bumps, and I can agree with the sentiment, Bucho. I'm not one of those guys that just goes around calling everybody a bum after a bad performance. But this wasn't just a bad performance. It was it was a slap to the face of boxing fans. And my contention is that if we're going to be paying for these guys to be on television, we should have a certain set of standards. And handling these boxes with kids' gloves, it just doesn't do anybody that much good. So it's gonna be an open Discord. It's going to be an open Discord. So hopefully, I'm inviting people. If you feel like, if you agree with us or if you disagree with us, just jump on by. It's going to be an open panel. On Friday, it's going to be an open panel as well. So hey, 2 open panel shows for the price of 1 this week. That's going to be fantastic. Butcher, let's go to the other room and let's get started. All right. All right, so the Discord here is open, the public BDA Discord. In case you don't know how this works, fellas, all you have to do is, I'm going to show you. All right, that's not it. Hold on a second. All right, so there's me and Bucha in the room. I'm going to expand it so you guys can see how this works. Hold on a second. There we go. So this is the Discord, right? You see there people talking. If you go to the left side, you will see something. You will see something that says voice channels, and there's a speaker icon. Just click on the speaker icon, and you can join. Discord, you don't need to create an account with an email address. Just put on a username, a password that you can memorize, obviously, and boom, you're in. All right? It's not like a StreamYard where you have to create an account and then get a code that you have to. No, it's very basic. It's very secure as well. Because again, you're not giving personal information. So I'm going to be posting the invite to Discord, and if you feel like we got something wrong with the Ring It Out thing, or if you agree or whatever as well, just jump on by. So I'm going to be putting the invite here. Shout out to It Was All a Dream, he says, for the free folk of the true north. Shout out to It Was All a Dream. Thank you, man. Really appreciate it. Really do appreciate it. Hit that like button. Hit that like button. Oh, we got Gonzalo. Gonzalo, I'm glad you're here because we didn't really have that much time with you because we started the show early and we know you're in the Philippines. So just to recap, with the whole Rigo thing, Gonzalo, Rapstar was saying that he didn't appreciate us calling Rigo trash, or at least, the thumbnail, which was quite provocative. What are your opinions on being allowed to criticize fighters for essentially not giving it their all in there?
Well, it's a sensitive subject to some people, and I could see a little bit of why a person would want to defend a professional fighter at all costs. But in the end of the day, people are paying. This is boxing. He goes by a name El Chacal, and he's headlining an event. And for Riga Down standards, even for his standards, this was like really a bad performance. Like I said, he was headlining an event and he hardly threw any punches. So I mean, Jesus Christ! I mean, I don't think I don't think it's a bad thing to say that. In the end of the day, it's like you calling a fighter trash. It's not like you're really trying to demean the human. It's just you're basically criticizing the trash performance that he gave. Right?
Yeah,
we're not trying to say fuck Rigo, hope he dies, and maybe he never comes back to the sport. Okay, I understand that because nobody wants to see him again. And who would rightfully put him back in the main event where he's gonna stink out the joint and people are not gonna buy? I mean, the networks don't want to do that because they're not gonna sell their product.
Exactly.
And fans don't want to watch it. So yeah, good riddance. But it's not like.
But hope he retires.
Well, actually, here's my thing on this. I don't. Because I saw he posted something, Rigondeaux, on his Twitter, and he posted a quote from some baseball player saying, "When people criticize me, it makes me stronger." I think Jimmy has a point last episode when he said Rigondeaux actually seems to enjoy or feeds off of the negativity and boring people. I think he likes that, and so there might.
James sent the new stem cell for Marcus. Yes. Yeah. So I guess he's full duty with restrictions now.
What are you talking about?
Roddy just
Hey, Wijang, you gotta mute your
full
mic.
duty with restrictions, so he's full duty.
Hey, Wijang, you gotta mute, man.
Jesus Christ, kick him out.
Yeah, you gotta mute yourselves, fellas. If you're gonna jump in here, you can't just leave your mic on. But anyway, Punch Drunk went on Rapstar's show, and he said, "Look, just don't have him on TV anymore." And I agree with that. I'm not asking for Rigondeaux to have his license pulled if he wants to continue earning money, but it's just he shouldn't be earning TV money if he's not going to be willing to put on a decent effort or an honest effort at that. He shouldn't be on television. I'm paying for ESPN. I'm paying for the Zone. I'm paying for the Showtime cards that are televised via TSN here, which is the ESPN, the Canadian equivalent of ESPN. So I'm sorry, man. I don't want to see Rigondeaux. He doesn't deserve to be on television. And if he just because this noble endeavor of not criticizing fighters because they're all courageous because they step into the ropes, just like there's levels of skill, talent, hand speed, power. There's levels of heart too. So you can get in between the ropes and give a trash performance, and you would deserve to be called trash. There are no ifs and buts about it. Handling these fighters with kids' gloves, it's just going to ruin the sport. I see we got Iwei Zhang. Iwei Zhang, are you there?
Oh, yeah, I was just trying to listen in. I don't know if I should just mute myself or...
Yeah, just mute yourself if you're not going to speak. That way we don't hear the background noise. And we got OJ. Who's this OJ?
Oh, sorry.
No, don't worry about it. Who's OJ?
Yo, what's up? God bless.
Oh, Mark. Okay, yeah. The fuck? Because there's two OJs. I thought it was the other one. How you doing, man?
I'm good. I'm good.
Are you innocent of murdering a waiter and your wife, or ex-wife, I should say? Anyway, a little OJ joke for everybody.
Yes, I'm innocent. Till proven guilty, anyway.
Absolutely. What are your thoughts on the whole Rigondeaux debacle?
Well, I've been kind of out of the loop. I've seen the fight. I ain't watching him again. I ain't watching him again. I don't want to watch him again. I really don't want to watch that guy again. That's the most negative fight I've ever seen in a championship bout.
Mm-hmm.
And the punch stats don't lie about it either, do they? It's the lowest in CompuBox history in a championship fight. Yeah, they even put that up on their Twitter page.
Wow.
For punches landed. The lowest volume fight in championship history, and Rigo was responsible for that. I ain't watching that, man. I can't.
I don't blame you. I mean, listen, and let's not... I hate to preface this with this statement, but I mean, we do have to do it. We're all boxing fans here. We've been watching boxing for a long time. I think it's fair to say we've earned the right to criticize fighters. The amount of... and Bucho, I know you've paid for this episode of Gonzalo. I know you've paid. Mark, I know you as well. Iwei Zhang, I don't know about you, but I know for a fact you guys have invested money in enjoying this fantastic sport. Is it really that far-fetched for us to have an opinion and call a guy whatever names we want when it's deserved?
Exactly. Why can't we criticize boxers, especially when they fight, not fight, the way Rigo did? You know what I mean? Like, why can't we criticize? This is the thing, like you said, some people glorify or romanticize the boxer, like he's stepping into the ring, he's risking his life, yes, but if he didn't want to do it, then he shouldn't do it. You know what I mean? We're paying for these guys to do their fucking job. If they don't do their job, then please criticize them. At least criticize them.
And most little fighters, Mucho, they want... People want to see little fighters because they throw a lot of punches, right? And this guy's a little fighter, and the thing they want to see about him, he did not do. He did not throw punches, right?
Exactly.
Are people saying that's wrong to criticize that performance?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know where that comes from, but what I will say is, if we take away fan discussion on the sport dies within a month.
Exactly, that's the other thing, right? I mean, come on. I mean, it's an opinion show.
This reminds me a little bit. Just quickly, this reminds me a little bit of. Remember when that actor George Clooney, he was talking shit about the paparazzis and shit like that. So the paparazzis went like, okay, we're gonna stop taking pictures of you. Then he had to go and apologize for what he said. I mean, he needs the fucking paparazzi, man. And boxers, the whole boxing industry, they need us, the fans.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what happened when the COVID hit the world. All of a sudden, fights weren't taking place, or when they did start taking place, there were no crowds. And the big thing was the lack of gate money and how that was going to impact paydays. Hey, look, no people. What do you think is going to happen? And if people don't watch the fights on TV, that means reduced advertising too. There's a reason why Canelo's highly paid. It's because he brings in advertisers, brings an audience with him. This, like you said, Bucho, this whole thing, it's a two-way lane. All right.
Also, we have to worship the whole boxing industry. Doesn't matter what they give us, we have to worship it.
And look. a picture's worth 1,000 words, right? I'm sharing the screen with you here of what I'm showing people on YouTube. On the YouTube, look at this photo that somebody posted on the Discord. Look at this. It's not photoshopped. This is a real photo. This is what he does when he gallops away. And this ain't.
This is what Jimmy said. He's almost turning his back. It's true. Some referees can stop the fight right away. Like if you're turning your back, they stop the fight.
But we shouldn't be able to criticize fighters. I mean, it's insane to me.
No.
What
and
type
it's
of
not
world?
the first time. Anyways,
You know what it is too? Is like that people say, "Oh, we should." You know, they hold politicians in high standards, and meanwhile, a lot of these motherfuckers are on coke. They're banging prostitutes, male and female. You know, same sex and all that shit. They're a bunch of degenerates. A lot of these people. You're gonna glorify these people? Look, there's fighters out there that deserve respect. Chocolatito is one of those fighters. I do believe Canelo, despite the aspersions that are being cast on his character and on his choice of opponents, deserves to be respected as a fighter. You know, that can change, obviously. I'm not saying that respect remains there forever. But let's just face the facts, fellas. It's what have you done for me lately?
Respect. I mean, I don't know if you should respect Canelo, but I think he's doing something positive for the sport. In the sense that he's very popular, and he's not running. That's the thing. It's hit and not get hit, but at the same time, there's some offense that has to take place in a fight. And Canelo, he throws punches. You know, is he weight draining some of his opponents and doing this and that? Of course, but I'm not gonna criticize him the way I criticize Mayweather. Because his fights were fucking boring. I remember inviting people over to I remember inviting people over to watch Mayweather fights at the bar, and then man, they always went home fucking pissed off. And they thought, "Is this boxing? Is this boxing?" I had to fucking I had to explain that that's Mayweather style, and a lot of people, man, during the Mayweather era, they thought that was boxing. That fucking was boxing. Can you believe it?
Yeah, it's like even a negative performance. Even a negative performance by one fighter will affect his opponent's the outlook on his performance as well. Look, Rigandao stinked up the joint, and I think that Casimero lost credit too, because he made him look pretty awful, and it's easy for one guy to run, and even for an action fighter like Casimero to look really, really bad. Same thing happened to Pacquiao when he fought Mayweather. You know, the guy ran Mayweather and he made Pacquiao look really bad. The fight sucked, and that goes for that. So Canelo for not fighting maybe Andrade, I wouldn't blame him, because if Andrade comes in there, he's calling out Canelo, but he goes in there and stinks up the joint. What's gonna happen? That's negatively gonna impact a fighter that's pretty popular that comes to fight, because his opponent runs. It makes for a bad fight, and he also loses credit.
And not for nothing, but Gonzalo, but what happened to Mayweather? His power, his box office power was overrated, because when he would fight guys that weren't big names like Robert Guerrero and Victor Ortiz, despite what those Ortiz numbers say, he didn't do good numbers. So, because people would watch his fights and they would go, "Okay, I'm not going to watch him again. I'm not going to watch him again. I'm not going to watch him." And little by little, it would start.
It was an anomaly. Floyd was an anomaly, man.
Yeah. Hello.
Floyd was an anomaly. Jesus Christ, anomaly.
Chichimek,
right?
you gotta wait your turn, man. You can't just come in.
Mute your mics, guys, if you're not gonna speak, man. Also,
all right, I'll go next.
Yeah, just quickly. Mayweather. Yes, this guy was boring when he was in the welterweight division, obviously. But the thing is, there was popularity. He had some popularity because of several factors that are gonna be very difficult for other fighters to recreate. All right, first of all, the undefeated record. Right, he had that undefeated record. He kept that undefeated record. Then at the same time, there was Pacquiao, who also had a career parallel to his. Right, so they were both supposed to eventually clash, and because as we were awaiting these two fighters to clash, we kept watching both of these fighters because we were expecting them to eventually fucking fight. Because if you remember, once they fought, look at how many pay-per-view buys Mayweather did against Berto. Nobody gave a shit, even though it was his farewell fight. You know what I mean? So that was a second point, right? He had this Pacquiao was on the other side, so there was all this hype for these two boxers. And what was the third one? I think that's pretty much. But some people claim that people hated Mayweather. That's why they went to watch his fights. Maybe some people did, but that's pretty much it. The aura of invincibility that Mayweather had. That's going to be very difficult to recreate, man.
Hey, before Chichime goes, let me just read a super chat from Michael Poe. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution with the super chat. He says, how many fights got canceled in the last couple of weeks that we were all excited for? A lot, Michael, unfortunately, a lot. We can talk about that later, but shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution. Chichime, go ahead, man. What do you want to say?
Yeah, I wanted to say, I don't really watch boxing for entertainment. I usually watch it because I'm a bettor. I like betting on fights, and I'll bet anywhere from three to four times a month on a fight.
Oh,
depending if the month has a lot of fights. I don't know, it's just one of my things, but anyways, when I'm looking at a fight, usually a big fight, and a fight I want to bet on, entertainment, just like a feeling, emotions. I don't care about that. I just see, okay, is this guy gonna win? The judge is going to give to this guy, does this guy have skills or something that this fighter can't handle? Usually is what I look at. So I didn't bet on the Casemiro Rigo fight because I felt like Casemiro wasn't going to win the fight because Rigo's old and Casemiro's he doesn't know how to cut off the ring, but he has very fast feet and he's very active. And I feel like that was going to give Rigo a lot of trouble. And Rigo's too old to keep up with that. And as you've seen, Rigo couldn't counter Casemiro because he was just, I guess his mind just can't work as fast. He can't think as fast as he used to, so he can't counter that good. But anyways, where I was getting at was Rigo didn't, I guess if you want to talk about just boxing where you're just scoring points, Rigo didn't do that bad in my opinion. Yeah, he ran, but then again, that's an opinion based off emotion because you don't like when a fighter moves around the ring. But when you actually go in the boxing, in the scoring, Rigo, he didn't do that bad in punches landed and not getting hit back. Again, I know you don't like that, but I mean, I'm not here to really tell you, you're supposed to enjoy this guy because he has this style or that style. Because I don't really care about that. I just watch boxing for what it is.
The main point of contention, Chichi.
Wait. On Rival, are you there? On Rivaled.
Yeah, I'm still here.
What were the statistics that you said you pulled out? What did they say? What was it?
Huh?
The statistics for the Rigo fight, you mentioned there was the lowest output.
Yeah, it was the lowest punches landed in a 12-round championship fight in CompuBox history.
No, yeah, I know that, but I wasn't.
You know that, but you just said that they didn't do that bad with the punches.
I said he didn't do that bad in landing punches and not getting hit back. I didn't say you have to land like 30 punches in one round. No, yeah, of course they had a low.
It was pathetic. That's what Unrivaled just said.
No,
in history, one of the worst.
Oh my god, dude, you don't have to have a high punch output to win a fight. You just have to land more punches than your opponent in the round. It doesn't matter if you land one punch and your opponent lands zero. Do
you think Rigo won the fight?
Boxing is. What?
Do you think Rigo won the fight?
I don't think he won the fight, but I don't think it did that bad when you consider that the main criteria of scoring boxing is how many punches you land. And if you land more than your opponent in the round, that's
could it be that Rigo lost the fight because of what Unrivaled just said? The statistic that he just could that be the reason why he lost the fight?
Again, he lost the fight because I thought Casemiro.
Yeah, right.
I thought Casemiro landed. Okay, look, I'll say this: Rigo landed the cleaner punches, but Casemiro landed more punches. Like when you punch somebody and they have like a high guard and it slightly hits, his head, the body shots, that's just not clean. But at the end of the day, it kind of counts.
Okay, let me reiterate.
Casemiro was landing that. Well, hold on. Casemiro was landing that about 7 to 6 times a round, where Rigo would land only 2 or 3 clean punches a round. So to me, it was just it was a weird fight to score. I'm not mad that Casemiro got the decision. I thought he was.
I got you.
You're rumbling.
Okay, but we're getting into the whole. You got to listen to what Chichimek said. He says he only watches boxing. He doesn't watch it for the enjoyment. He watches for the gambling. So we're talking with a guy that doesn't, either he doesn't even want to, or for some reason just doesn't appreciate what he sees in there. So it's a completely different discussion now from what we set out to say before, which is Guillermo Liganov fought an awful fight, and since you get paid more to be on television because you're supposed to provide some form of entertainment. If you are not providing this entertainment, you do not deserve to be on television. That's what we're saying. Mark put up the compy box here from Rigondeaux on the Discord. 44 shots out of 221 versus Casimero. So for those people that are saying in the chat, because there's people in the chat saying, well, but Casimero couldn't land on him either. Okay, yeah, listen, Casimero, and I said this before the fight, he's a Filipino Ricardo Mayorga, essentially. Watch his fights with Sultan and with that Thai dude that beat Sushi Ming. He's a wild man. At least those guys stood their ground and tried to counter him. Rigondeaux didn't even try. 44 shots out of 221 versus Casimero. And like Mark, I think that this is a point Mark's trying to make. Mark, jump in if I'm getting this wrong, but look at his punch stats against other fighters. Higher landing percentage. Why couldn't he land against Casimero if he was fighting his fight? That's what I said too on Saturday.
He's a terrible boxer, to be honest.
It's a terrible
boxer.
boxer.
Around him doesn't throw shit.
The other thing people seem to be leaving out is if you they're not that far apart in the punch stats. If you look at it, Casimero nearly equals Rigo's total punches in just power punches landed.
Now is that in almost every round or?
Well, pretty much he like in all of the rounds Casimero won, and one where Rigo won by one punch, I think it was. I can't remember exactly. Rigo landed 3 jabs. Casimero landed more power punches. Casimero barely landed a jab the whole fight. So any rounds that were close, it's more likely Rigo landed 2 jabs and 1 power punch, and Casimero landed 3 power punches.
Mm-hmm. And that's the other thing, though. Gonzalo, real quick. That's the other thing. If you're literally running, which is what Rigondeaux was doing, he was running in there. That's the definition of running in boxing is when you move nonstop and you're not even trying to set up a shot. That's what he was doing. When you do that, you're not giving yourself the benefit of the doubt with the judges. Also, Cerny Banders in the chat room, who consistently makes illogical points, says, you guys just want him to stand in there and be a punching bag. Again, that's a fallacy. It's an either-or fallacy. We're not saying he has to stay in there and fight like Brandon Rios. He can he can move like he did against Seija. Like he did against, Donaire, which is move a little bit, but still be in position to be able to land hard counters. We're not saying it's...
Or even Amagasa. Even Amagasa fight.
I want to say, the thing with Rigo and other boxers, right? Like, let's bring up boxers that are known to be boring, right? Like Mayweather, Ladder, Rigo, and all that, right? Plant too. I think these guys, their priority when they fight isn't to excite the fans. I know some fighters feed off that, like Pacquiao, or like the typical Mexican boxer. They feed off of entertaining the fans, but I think other people just don't really care about that. They just care about getting the W. That's just how it is, man. And if you waste your money, well, whose fault is that? Whose fault is that?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why I'm saying we should be allowed to criticize.
You know what?
But that's what I'm saying.
Some of these boxers just got the crap and say that they're gonna go in there and they're ready to go out on a stretcher and shit like that, and then just fucking run like pussies.
Exactly. Listen, if these guys are gonna do that, if these guys are gonna do that, if these guys are gonna do that,
whatever. But I'm telling you what it is. Then
if these
you
guys
don't want to hear it, you keep saying it's live. I don't care what you guys say, but you come up here trying to defend these fucking pussies, right?
Look,
it's embarrassing.
You're getting emotional.
Look, you mentioned you said something that he's probably old and he can't pull the trigger. Well, his legs were looking really good, and if you think about small fighters, they're characterized by throwing a lot of punches. So you can't tell me he's a shot fighter because he's a little guy, and those guys throw a lot of punches, and this guy hardly threw any at all. And with his footwork, he was looking pretty impeccable in the sense that he was good enough to get away. So why not? Is he not good enough to be in position to let his hands go just a little bit more?
Exactly. And I wanted to say something else. I wanted to say something else too. That before I got interrupted.
Rachel, calm down, man. Jesus Christ, let BDA talk, man.
I wanted to say something before I got interrupted. If these guys are gonna, that's my whole point. People are, especially Chichimek is missing it. If these guys are gonna go in there and not fight, then I have the right to voice my opinion, call them trash, call them bums, especially when it's not the first time they do this, and petition to have these guys no longer fight. Listen, there's a reason why HBO got rid of Rigondeaux too. Because this motherfucker did not deserve to be in there. He does not deserve to be on television. I don't care about skills. This ain't basketball where the result and the statistics matter. This is about
He lost the fucking fight, man.
And he lost the fucking fight, yeah. Hey, by the way, shout out to...
You can't telling he says his style, that's his style. And he didn't win the fight.
Hey,
Okay,
he
guys.
didn't want to win the
up,
fight,
guys?
apparently.
Wait, hold up. So look, I want to go back to what Gonzalo said because I wanted to finish his point, and that was a good take, Gonzalo. But what I really meant was, I think mentally he's not as sharp, and mentally he's not as quick as he used to be when you're younger. That's why I think he couldn't pull the trigger like a 40-year-old. I mean, I don't expect a 40-year-old to fucking like counter quick like they used to when they're like 28 or 29. That's what I meant when Rigo couldn't pull the trigger. It wasn't because of his physical speed. It was more so his mental speed. That's what I meant.
May I ask a good point?
And
May I
he's
ask
correct.
Hold on, Bucho, hold on. Let Mark ask a question there.
So when they had the Mexican standoff in the center of the ring, why didn't he hit him?
Mentally, he wasn't there, man.
I mean, it looked like he was able to shoot the counter left whenever he felt like throwing the damn thing.
And you know what? That goes to my point. Real quick. Hold on. Real quick, Eldog. And if he can't pull the trigger, and that just even furthers my point even more. This motherfucker should not be on television. If he's 40 years old, can't pull the trigger anymore, get the fuck out of here, man. And he lost this fight, so it's even more obvious he should not be fighting on television. Go ahead, Eldog. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I hear a lot of people saying Rigo's boring. No one wants to see that shit. But to be honest, I've seen a lot of people from the black community say that this was a great fight and a great display of boxing skills. So, just to be honest, like, not all people actually thought this fight was boring. Like, there are actually people who like this. I mean, I guess it's like pornography, you know. Some people are into foot porn, some people are into fucking whatever, you know. There's like a little niche for everyone, and Rigo appears to have a niche within a specific demographic.
Are you saying Rigo is the foot fetish of boxing?
Well, I wouldn't say foot fetish, because foot fetish is actually pretty popular. I would say Rigo is like the scat fetish, maybe.
Well, yeah, I know for some reason a lot of in the black community the foot fetish is very big. So I think Eldog might be onto something here. By the way, shout out to hold on real quick. Hold on, apology real quick. Shout out to High and Low Sports Centrum for his contribution to Super Chat. He says Rigo was selfish with his boxing and not fighting. Absolutely. And by the way, there was another dude in the chat room who said, "Oh, Rigo's got you guys talking." He's the type of guy that if he gets caught with child porn, he's gonna say, "Haha, people are talking about me." Would you fucking get these low IQ motherfuckers out of here, man? Some of these guys are fucking legitimately.
I wanted to say, yeah, man. You know, I can get it why people think Rigo is boring. You know, but you know, you guys talking about it on YouTube, it doesn't do much, man. Like, I'm just trying to help y'all not waste your time, you know, because I'm pretty sure people whined about Rigo, you know, trying to make him not be on television. He's still on television, so it doesn't really help. You know what I'm saying, man? Just trying to help you out.
I disagree.
Turn off the show. That's it. There's no point.
Can I address that?
Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy, please.
What's going on, you guys? First off, whining about Rigo doesn't do anything. That's a horse shit. Whining about Rigo got him kicked off HBO. Peter Nelson don't give a fuck about boxing. He goes by the wind of social media when he was running it, and they cut him loose. It cost him millions of dollars. Also, I reached out. I'm going to tell you, take it for what you want, but this guy's always been a good source. Rigo was furious with the money he got for this fight. Whether that played anything on how he fought that night, because to say he checked out, it wasn't mentally. And dude, he was mocking John. You know, that kid when he missed, like he was focused in on shit. Comes down to this: nobody learns that style unless it's for a reason. Nobody adopts and studies that style. You know why? Rigo don't like getting hit. Simple as that. He's an elite guy at getting away. He's just not a fighter. And I think somebody's going to write about this soon. Somebody should interview him and talk about, I don't know if it's on the record or what's going on, but I probably shouldn't even have said that much. But I guess Espinoza was furious over all this, like to the point where you won't be seeing him on your Showtime
Yeah.
Fucking so.
But
I
hold
mean,
on,
listen, that did horrible numbers. And can I just say something else real quick? The people who were saying they like that are lying. Nobody
Yeah.
likes that fighting.
Yeah,
And the people who do, the people who do are such a minute, minuscule, non-existent, insignificant part of boxing that they don't carry any weight in the industry. So nobody's gonna fucking do
I'll
that
ask you
to
a
their
quick
style.
question.
Anyways, yes, brother.
Yeah, I want
Jimmy,
to
can I
say.
ask a quick question?
Hold
on, can I ask a quick question? Jimmy, how many times do you watch like fights like Mugabe versus Hagler or Pacquiao versus Cotto? You watch them a lot, right? I think everyone
Oh
here
my
has
god,
rewatched
yeah.
them.
Tons of times.
How
bro.
many people said they like Rigondeaux's gonna rewatch his fights? Like none of them. No one rewatches Rigondeaux's fights.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
Well,
So I
hold on,
want to say back.
Chichimek, hold on, Chichimek. You've been talking a lot. Let other people talk, man.
Well, no, because everybody's countering at what I say, so I have to kind of like counter what they say. You know what I'm saying?
No,
No,
that's
well,
not how it works.
come on. There's other
That's not
people
how-
that want to talk, man. You
Yeah,
can't.
there's a
All
lot
right,
of
let me just
people
say one
here.
more thing.
Chichimek,
okay,
I just told you.
one more thing.
Chichimek, I just told you. No, jeez, Luis. All right, now I did want to ask Gonzalo something. Because Gonzalo, and listen, it's the same thing with Jimmy too and Gonzalo. You know, you guys been watching boxing for a long time. I know Mark as well, and actually Box as well. When it comes to this whole thing of, well, you know, boxing fans have no power, like Jimmy just reiterated, HBO kicked Rigondeaux. They also did the same thing with the Klitschko's at some point. So, I mean, whenever a guy does something that we don't like, what's your bar or your parameter for where you can start criticizing a fighter?
Yeah, fans have all the power, but it usually takes a little bit of time to catch up. Like everything evolves in life. Everything. With boxing, with the whole Mayweather era, I'm pretty sure fans and the people in the sport, they got sick of it. And they kind of understood a little bit now, a little bit then, to where things will change eventually. They will change now. Because they were kind of like enamored with the fact that, okay, for example, Mayweather, hit and not get hit, the sweet science, defensive prowess. But he stretched that out to the limit to where you can say, okay, it's good to do that, but at the same time, you got to separate that from running, and people can identify where there's a difference between fighting in the pocket, being defensively thorough or defensively good, and what is running. And people, they know that, and performances like Rigondeaux's really stink up the joint to where boxing is evolving, and the president that Mayweather set is to like where fighters that fight exciting now, that's what the people are gonna pay for, and it influences the judges and the people that run the sport. Where it's not gonna remain the same as Chichimek saying that, oh yeah, do what you want. It's good. People are still gonna put them on TV, and this is the way boxing works. No, everything evolves in life, and I guarantee you that in the future, it's not going to be so much focus on what Mayweather did in that type of style that where it's changing and it's never going to go back to the same. You know how they used to say, you got to take it from the champion to beat the champion? Shit changes. And it never goes back to the way it was. And it's good for the sport because the sport evolves. The sport now is not the same from the sport that it was in the 20s. And the style of fighting and many things. Some things like the corruption still remain the same.
That's a good point.
Yeah,
man.
that's pretty much it.
That's a good point.
Okay, I wanted to say to that. Well, okay, first I wanted to counter what Jimmy said. Now, about 90% of what Jimmy said was assumptions. He assumed that Rigo was angry about it.
I didn't assume nothing, dude. Did I say that word? Did I assume shit, dude? No, listen. I'm not gonna. Don't even give this kid. He's gonna stop putting words in my mouth.
Again, man.
No, but hold on, Chichimek. Hold on, Chichimek. Well, because listen, ever since you got here, I noticed your attitude. I think you're starting to understand why you got kicked out of the initial Discord in the first place, aren't you? Because you're just offering disputing arguments just for the sake of disputing. Because again, and this is a key point here, Jimmy never said, hey, I'm assuming he got kicked off. And as he was about to do that now. He was about to offer proof. Because again, you're trying to instigate here fights. You're not actually here to have a debate or have a discussion. You're here essentially attacking Jimmy's character.
That's a quick question.
No, I want.
And you sound high too, by the way.
I mean, you don't.
And that's not an assumption.
You don't have to say. You don't have to. You don't wait. Hold on. You don't have to say that I'm assuming to assume something. But anyways, I want.
All right, but so then let Jimmy expand on his point. Then let Jimmy expand. Go ahead, Jimmy.
You
Go ahead,
assume
Jimmy.
that boxing fans lie.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
He interrupted me though.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
All right, no, okay. Yeah, no, listen. How many times before have I said stuff that I've heard? I think my track record's pretty good that I've heard stuff that have come to fruition. A lot more than hasn't, and I'll fucking go back to and you know that's true. I mean, and I'm just telling you right now, it's a small industry. It's not hard. Like Lou DeBell is friends with people around here. And, he's still got his ear to the thing. So when you hear about a fighter being angry, and listen, Rigondeaux, and that wouldn't be something new. That's Rigondeaux's been always pissed about his fucking purses. And it's now almost like everybody knows in the industry that fucking he owes people money. But anyways, my point being, I never said I assume shit. And if I say it's my opinion, I state this is my opinion. Regardless, nobody wants to see that clown show do that again. That was when you had a fight as great as fucking Ortiz against the Cavaluskas, but yet we open the show and spend the first half hour or hour talk about Rigondeaux, not about a good fight, about how it was an insult to the sport, and the narrative about the hit, don't be hit. Listen, there was a time when once it got to the cherry-picking mercenary Floyd Mayweather, his fan base needed something because he wasn't exciting, he didn't finish his opponents, so that was the narrative, hit, don't be hit. They had to carry on that. Let me just say this thing in the ending. How funny is it that the 90% of those saying hit, don't be hit dudes are now carrying water for the least technical fighter I've probably ever seen carry a belt, Deontay Wilder. Isn't that just kind of fucking funny?
And Jimmy, they always say the same thing. Oh, well, I thought you liked Power. I thought you liked these guys. And it's like, why does it have to be one, but it can't be the other? Like, for me, I like boxer punches. I like Gennady Golovkin, Lomachenko, Errol Spence. I like those guys.
Exactly.
Guys who can do a bit of both. They can box, but they break you down.
You know what I think? I think it's people that have some sort of cognitive damage. They can't. For them, it's either or. There's no nuance. There's no context. There's no spectrum. It's either run or fight like Brandon Rios in there and be a punching bag. That's not what it means.
That's what they always say.
And BDA, that's just. And I'll just listen. I'm gonna call it because I haven't got time to dick around. I'm gonna call it what it is. When your alliance, I'll say, I'll quote that kid on Twitter, was perfect. When your number one criteria for your fighter is melanin, your whole thing is based off of race, you always started on a slippery slope. Your argument's always going to falter because it's not in a true form. You see what I'm saying? So that's the reason why they're always going to not look good, because the majority of this shit is race-based and everyone knows it.
Hey, by the way, let's go to a phone call.
I'm not even black.
Hold on,
man.
let's go. We gotta go to a phone call real quick here. Let's go to a phone call. 415. You're on the air. 415. What's on your mind? Oh shit! Hold on a second. Sorry, I gotta unmute you. Sorry. All right, 415. You're on the air. What's on your mind?
Hello. What's the topic about?
Well, we were talking about Rigondeaux and how some people are saying, well, you can't criticize Rigondeaux. You shouldn't call him trash for his performance. And so that's what we're discussing right now.
Yeah. My comment on the Rigondeaux-Casemiro fight. Rigondeaux won that fight, clearly.
Okay.
And,
anything else?
Yeah, he got robbed.
All right. Anything else you want to add before we move on?
Hey, is this the guy who was watching his back while he called up and he was saying he doesn't like Casemiro?
No, does he want to see Rigondeaux fight again? Did he enjoy that? Would he buy that at a pay-per-view?
Nah. I felt like Rigondeaux won that fight. He landed more punches. And,
did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I don't like Casemiro. He talks too much crap.
Caller,
did you enjoy the fight?
Stop skipping the question. Answer it.
Wait, what's your question?
The question is, did you enjoy the fight?
Yeah. Oh, he high as fuck, man.
Did you enjoy the fight?
Bullshit.
I didn't.
You will never watch the fight again.
I didn't.
Bullshit.
There you go.
You didn't?
I did watch
he said
the
he
fight,
didn't, right?
That's right.
So that tells you right there, you didn't enjoy it. So I can understand. Listen, if you want to say
I did.
you felt he did what he did to win, but you didn't enjoy the fight, that's at least you're being honest. You're just giving your opinion on who won the fight. Oh, well. But the bottom line is, I think what BDA is getting at is nobody enjoyed it. Far more people despised it than enjoyed it. So the point being, it's just the people who enjoyed it isn't going to carry the day. This kid's he's got to disappear.
By the way, Haitian Sensation in the chat goes, "Is that my long lost cousin?" Yeah, this guy sounds a little bit like Haitian Sensation. Hey, guys, I want to tell you. Anyway, listen, caller, we got to move on. Thank you for your call. We'll catch you on the next one, all right, man?
Wait, hold on. Okay,
right. Let's go to 351. 351, you're on the air. 351, what's on your mind?
What's up, BDA? It's Michael.
Oh, Michael, thank you for calling in, man. What's on your mind?
Not much. As my phone clicks, it's a little dim on my end.
All right.
The volume.
That's fine, man.
Nah, just say there's nothing wrong with calling a fight trash or a guy a bum. You're doing it in fun. You're not really trying to disrespect. And when you guys do, you say it. It was Wilder. It's not fun. You really are disrespecting because the guy's a tool.
No.
And Rigo did make it boring. That picture alone, I swear that dude looks like he should be the suicide watch, I'm telling you.
Well, listen, I mean, it's these motherfuckers. He's been at this for a while, man. And well, anything else, Michael? You want to say before we move on? Because we got a lot going on here.
No. Just gonna listen to the rest of the show. If you guys got any other topics, yeah, that'd be great.
Fantastic. Yeah, feel free to call in later when we discuss other stuff.
Keep it up, man. I appreciate you guys' consistency. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Michael. Yeah, listen. Anytime a fighter goes into the ring, of course it's taking a certain amount of courage to be willing to go in there and put yourself in danger. But just because it's not an either-or thing. If you step in between those ropes, you can deliver trash performances. And again, I think it's people that are cognitively disabled or something. They just don't seem to understand that. Now, when it comes to Casimero, that's the other argument that I've heard from people. Say, well, Casimero fought a trash fight too. Technically, if you're going to give Rigondeaux credit for making Casimero miss, like Fight Scout said, you got to give Casimero credit for making Rigondeaux fight the way he fought. He was dictating the pace.
Well, BDA, why didn't he do that against Lomachenko? How come he didn't employ that exact style against Lomachenko? Think about it. He was younger. He could have easily had the conditioning part, obviously. Why didn't he try that? Why? Because he knew the skill level. Lomachenko would have just sidestepped him, feinted him, and sidestepped him into a fucking trap. Because when you're concentrating on moving so much, you're concentrating on your hands. That's why he stood more in the thing with them, because he had a focus on what Lomachenko was doing. That just goes to show you the level of skill that kid has. He didn't even try to employ that shit because he knew it wouldn't work. He took advantage of a kid who didn't know really how to cut down the ring that good. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, why is no one giving Casimiro credit for making Rigondeaux miss?
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
that's why he landed so little punches.
Exactly.
That's a good
yeah.
point.
Casimiro made a miss too. And by the way, just to Jimmy's point, once Lomachenko started applying more pressure in the last round, Rigondeaux did start to move more. It was in the last 40 seconds, I believe, he started to move more and clinch a lot. And that's why he quit, because I suspect, I'm not sure, but I suspect that's because he felt the pressure. He said, you know what, this is only going to get worse from here on out. Let me just say I got a busted hand. That's what they did.
And they ghosted him for 2 years after that, remember? Nobody put him on for 2 years after quitting, I think it was. So this is just, another one in the column. But he didn't do it to Lomachenko because when the talent was there to prevent it, and then he didn't prove the point, doesn't like getting hit. Because I think Lomachenko wasn't really trying to knock him out. I think Lomachenko did two things purposely. Didn't have to utilize a size advantage to what everything he did was based off of skill. And secondly, wasn't hitting him. If you go back and look at that fight, nothing was loaded up on. It was like, I'm going to beat your ass until maybe the last couple of rounds, and then I'm going to knock you out for all the shit you wrote. Because listen, the kid who's in charge, who I actually think is a good dude, but the guy in charge of Rigo's Twitter account did a 2-year campaign of insults and memes and cartoons denouncing his courage and fucking every other thing. And you know what I mean? It was so funny because after he lost, and all the same, I don't want to get into that. But anyways, so I think, yeah, what's up, brother?
Man. He bitched.
Yeah, he wanted to beat him. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think this is what happened with Rigondeaux. It's not that he's shot to the point that he can't pull the trigger as quick as before. Maybe because obviously he's older, but he can still pull the trigger. He didn't want to sit down on his punches because the punches and bunches that Casimiro was going to throw, it's not like Casimiro was going to throw one punch and knock him out. Yeah, possibly. But the second and the third punch, because Casimiro darts in like similar to like Pacquiao, not the same, but you guys know what I mean. So if Rigondeaux would have sat down on his feet and thrown that left straight, Casimiro was waiting for that, and as soon as he would have done that, Casimiro would have darted in with the 1 and the 2s and the 3s, and he wasn't gonna want to be exposed to getting hit by those punches and bunches. That's what I believe.
I think so too, man. I think so too. But and look, listen, yeah, Casimiro did fight a shit fight. He cut off the ring, but he couldn't put the finishing touch, and that was outrageous. The way he was, go to the body. He couldn't even do that. I know it's easier said than done with a guy that's constantly moving, but I mean, there you have it for Casimiro. I mean, that's he deserves criticism, but that doesn't invalidate the criticism that Rigondeaux gets.
I don't think. I don't think Casimiro really did a good job cutting off the ring. I think when you think of people who can cut off the ring, a example that comes to my mind is the Triple G versus Willie Monroe fight. I thought Triple G did fantastic cutting off the ring in that fight. But two fights that like make me cringe because like these guys can't cut off the ring. Like they follow their fighters, like almost like chase them. And that was Casimiro, Rigo, and Canelo. Like both of those fights just make me cringe because like why would you come around? You're supposed to cut off the ring intelligently. Like
what's the common denominator in those two fights?
Willie Monroe, something like that.
What is the common denominator? Apology.
Common denominator.
Was that?
Where
Cuban fighters.
Exactly.
Seasoned fighters.
Well, again, that's the
Cuban fighters.
Oh yeah,
you mean
that's true,
slick, athletic, melanated kings?
Okay, El Dog, what always got? That's true. El Dog always had to take it to that. No, but it's true. I mean, look, listen, because I remember that the Lara Canelo fight, Lara was moving a lot, but then when he tasted those body shots, that's when he said, "Fuck this," and there was a sequence where Canelo fainted, and Lara jumped or leaped. Actually, he leapt all the way from one side of the ring to the other, and I'm thinking, "Geez, Luis, I know this guy hits hard, but come on, how about you act like a little bit like a fighter and not like a half an amateur fighter who turns his back around when the heat gets too much to be too much." I don't know.
There's this skill. There's this.
You're cutting off Chichimek. You're cutting off Chichimek. You're cutting off.
I think fighters need to understand that boxing is a niche sport.
Fighters like Casimiro and
Chichimek, you're cutting off, man.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but you cut off. You're cutting off every 5 seconds. It's like you're under a bridge or something.
Oh, my bad. All right, so I was gonna say, so there's a certain skill there is to cutting off the ring, and I don't think Casimiro or even Canelo, I don't think they have that skill to cut off the ring. I think if you want to look at fighters that cut off the ring, Triple G is one. Even Lomachenko is one. Usyk's one. Those guys are very good at cutting off the ring. And Casimiro can. If he actually knew what to cut off the ring, he would
No, but Chichimek, you're cutting off. You're fading away. But I understood the first part of your statement, and let me just clarify why. Because I think Jimmy or somebody else had clarified this in the last episode. Because somebody disputed the fact that Casimiro can cut off the ring. Cutting off the ring means cutting off the ring. So if a guy moves or pivots away to one side, you cut off the ring. In other words, you slide with him. That's what Casemiro was doing. The problem came, like I said, when he would plant his feet to throw the shot, and that's when Rigondeaux would slip away because he was constantly moving. There wasn't a point. There was rarely a point where he would stop. So, like I said, he did cut off the ring correctly, but he couldn't put the finishing touch. Like you mentioned, Usyk and Rigondeaux and all those guys. I mean, Lomachenko. Those guys do it with feints too. They feint. They go in and out. They use a jab.
And they set traps, bro. They use. They see a pattern. They understand and read the rhythmic pattern of the fight of the fighting, and then they set a trap. They throw a punch to where they think he's gonna be, and that's how you get him to stop doing that. Yeah, you're talented enough to do that. That comes from years and years. Yeah.
When it comes to Rigo, the key to beating him is to break his rhythm. He's a very rhythmic fighter.
Bingo.
Cuban fighters are.
Yeah, 100%.
Cubans are very fluid, and they're very rhythmic with their fighting style for the most part, and that's how you beat Rigo. You need a good jab, you need feints to break that rhythm, so he can't just. I mean, that's part of the problem Casemiro had, was it was the same thing every round. He let Rigo into a rhythm.
Very good point.
Like, you ever notice how he tried once he got close to him cutting off the ring, he tried to paw the left hand, like the lead hand, and Rigo would just duck under it.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly, Virtuoso.
Yeah, he kept doing the same thing.
Yeah, he never varied up anything. He never changed his angles, never changed anything. He just kept doing the same thing over and over. It's because he's limited. That's what limited guys do.
Yeah.
Good guys, like, would be, go southpaw and be effective at it if they're really talented.
Hey, I want to mention something
about
that. I want to mention something about that, but real quick. Shout out to High and Low Sports Centrum for his contribution to the Super Chat. He says, do not fight, come for the pay. It was simple to see. Absolutely, High Low. Thank you for your contribution, man. He didn't go. And when Jimmy talked about the fact that the rumor is that the Rigondeaux was frustrated beforehand because of the payday, just lets you know that perhaps there is something validity to that. Also, I wanted to mention something about what you guys were talking about the Casimiro's performance. Did you notice when he had success later on in certain sequences was when he started mixing it up to the body? He started doing that Pacquiao combination, which is to go with the backhand to the body and then come up with as like a semi-hook jab upstairs. And he caught Rigondeaux and he stopped him in his tracks. But then he would go back to
I think he was just so used to being a headhunter.
Do you guys think that Inoue would have done a better job cutting off the ring and handling Rigondeaux?
Yeah.
He would have done Rigondeaux. He would have killed him.
Destroy him.
One thing Inoue would have done that would have given Rigondeaux a lot of problems, like a southpaw has the liver at the front of their stance. Sometimes Casemiro was able to catch Rigo with like a hook. Inoue would have hooked to the body, so every time Rigo went to pivot off the ropes, he would be pivoting right into that left hook to the liver, and it would have broke him down eventually.
Also, it's straight jabs to the liver too.
Yeah.
Even if he blocked it, he still wouldn't have felt it because he knew it can punch.
Yeah,
he's got a crack with accuracy, and he knows how to set traps.
Yeah, he's got a different type of power in a way. It's gonna be that even if you block his shots, he's gonna cripple you with those. Real quick, we got somebody on the line here. Hold on a second. 775, you're on the air. 775. What's on your mind?
I'm just listening in right now, and it's I can't really believe that this is really a debate, and that we're discussing about cutting off the ring. It's like, you cannot cut the ring off, stop someone that is literally running and that is 5 to 10 feet from you through the whole fight. You can't cut that off. You can't switch up an angle to try to get at them. You have to really chase them, and that's what he was trying to do. You can't cut them off like that. You can't cut off a ring from someone that's running, like really running.
Hey, caller, I agree with you, but we got Chichimek here. He disagrees with you. Go ahead, Chichimek. Why do you disagree with the caller?
Because I've seen fights where fighters are, again, like you say, running, and they literally cut off the ring and stop them. So I don't know what this guy's talking about.
Well, which fight?
Which fight? Which fight?
Hey, could you give me an example of those fights, or just tell me, drop a link in the chat or something, so I could go watch those fights? And because I have never in my life seen a fight where somebody is literally running. Like, what just happened? I've never seen that where somebody is running, like keeping 5 feet between him and the fighter.
I'll give you one. It's Chocolatito versus Carlos Cuadras. I thought Chocolatito was able to cut the ring off against Cuadras when he was running.
Cuadras wasn't running though. He was jogging.
Check it out immediately.
All right, but hold on. Mark has something to say about that. Hold on, Mark, go ahead.
No, I was just saying Cuadras wasn't running. He was jogging.
Is that a different?
I suppose then we have to make the distinction. I mean, Rigo was literally sprinting at times.
yeah, I agree with the caller though. I agree with the caller. There's no fight where a guy successfully, maybe a guy with a lot of power and better skills than Casimiro, but Casimiro was cutting off the ring. He just couldn't pin him down afterwards because every time he would plant his feet, Ligonda was already on the move, 14 steps away. So, caller, thank you for your call.
I don't know, because
I mean, you know, when it gets to the point where the fighter is standing there and Casimiro's just standing there and basically like just standing there, and Rigo's like 5-6 feet away from him, and he's just staring at him like, what the hell? What the fuck? Are we gonna fight or like what's going on? And
Exactly.
Rigo is still all the way away from him and still just stays that same distance.
Exactly, man.
I don't know. It's kind of
It was a trash performance, man, and I don't want to watch this guy again. So, caller, thank you for your call. Appreciate your opinion, and we'll catch you on the next one. All right, man? Take it easy.
All right, cool.
I was gonna
hold on.
I was gonna say Triple G versus Willie Monroe.
Now, Monroe wasn't
Willie
running.
Monroe didn't run. He didn't run, man.
Monroe wasn't fighting when Rigo.
He was.
Yeah.
Monroe was running, but he stopped running when Triple G.
He wasn't
started
running like
breaking
Rigo
down
was.
the
He wasn't
fight.
running.
That's why he stood.
Yeah, he
wasn't
has more
running.
cement feet
Rigo
than
was.
Rigo. Let's be honest.
Isn't
he
Willie
was
Monroe
running.
Cuban as well?
Yeah.
I think he's half Cuban, right?
What's the common denominator?
God damn, man, these Cubans.
Yeah, these
Yeah,
Cubans.
but he didn't run as much as Rigondeaux.
What's that, Jerson?
That's well, first of all, how are you? Hey guys, I hope you all have been blessed and well. But Willie Monroe didn't run as much as Rigondeaux did.
Exactly. Listen, again, we need to go through the definition, especially for the people here that are on weed. The definition of running in boxing is when you're moving non-stop and literally trying not to just to cut off the action by running and blocking the other guy from even being able to throw a shot. So, and what?
And pop shotting.
Well, not even pot shotting. I mean, you can't pot shot if you're on the back foot all the time.
Can't even pot shot. And recognize what made it easier for Rigondeaux too. Casimiro's the type of dude. His offense always comes at you from the same stance. Like he's one of those dudes. He's going to be in kind of the same position when he starts throwing his major punches. And Rigondeaux can see that, so he would see when he would have his feet in the right position. You know what I mean? He doesn't have a varied offense. Like he doesn't have different punches he can throw from different angles with enough on it to respect. So, but he's got enough power in the punches he commands. But he has to be in a certain way to throw those punches. And Rigondeaux saw that, and that was just his. Just as he probably was getting to that stance, that was his charm to get on the bike. That's what made it that much more easy.
Yeah. And by the way,
so I want to say something
that
doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me where you guys say that okay, the example was Monroe didn't run against Triple G. Why didn't he run? Because Triple G didn't let him run. That's why he didn't run. Why did Rigo run against Casimiro? Because Casimiro let him run. Obviously, watch the fight for the first 3 rounds. Monroe was moving a lot laterally, right? But Triple G knocked him down when he was moving, and that's when Monroe lost his legs. And you have to fight in the middle. That's literally why.
You know, it's noticed that it's always the opponent's fault.
Both were running, basically. So Rigo was running. You just admitted. So you just said that Rigo was running.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was running. Yeah, but
he was running. Yes.
I'm
Okay.
going by your guys' definition.
You can't
if
win a fight running, man.
Laterally, he's running. So
yeah, you can't win
a fight.
I don't
think nobody's defending Casimiro if he's running. He can't win a fight if he's running.
I'm defending.
Casimiro was cutting off the ring, and he was chasing him. He had him close because he's got fast feet. But Casimiro was missing a lot. Maybe Triple G was landing a lot against Monroe. Then again, they're different type of fighters. You can say they were both running, but Triple G landed on Monroe. Casimiro, nobody's defending him. I think he was missing, and like Jimmy said, I think Rigondeaux knew that, and he took advantage that he was
Yeah,
such a
like
crude fighter that he kept
yeah,
on
like
running.
getting
But with that being said, if he understood that Casimiro was such a crude fighter, why not sit in the pocket and try to counter him? Even though you might run the risk of getting knocked out, well, do that because you're fighting a crude fighter, right?
Exactly.
If the other guy's missing, try to counter him.
I mean, you look at certain
Casemiro-
you look at certain
Casemiro
fighters like when
isn't as
Helmut
good as
Marquez
Triple G,
fought
but-
Robbie Peden, for example. Robbie Peden was a very wild fighter with quick hands, and Marquez very composed, broke his body, caught him coming in, but he had to be willing to stand there and take some of the shots. Rigondeaux is not willing to do that, and even everybody on this panel agrees he ran. You don't. I'm sorry. If you're running, all out running in a fight, you're not giving yourself the benefit of the doubt with the judges. Simple as that. Shout out to Michael Poe for his contribution with the super chat. He says, "You need to go back to the olden days where you could throw stuff in the ring like a head of lettuce or tomatoes, like in the medieval times." Shout out to Michael Poe. I agree with that. We should be able to assault fighters
Throw a tomato at him or
vegetables.
something.
Yeah.
So let me ask this, right? So is your guys' main criteria in boxing when you score a fight? Is it on who's running and who's not running? Because if that's the case, why did Mayweather beat Pacquiao? Because I mean, I'll admit Mayweather did quote unquote run, but he won the fight because if you land more punches in the round, you know, more than your opponent lands on you, you win the fight. That's the main scoring criteria. I mean,
I don't know,
running,
man.
you know,
It depends.
If he runs,
Like,
he automatically loses.
like when it comes to Floyd, I don't think he ran anywhere near as much as Rigo ran the other.
Floyd fought in the pocket against Manny.
Yeah,
He was
the
very.
thing I'll say about Rigo is the problem I have and why I call it running is because he's using lateral movement consistently to avoid engagements. Like that's what he's doing. He's not just like I have no problem with using lateral movement to avoid 1, 2, or 3 maybe consecutive engagements. But if you're consistently doing it for entire rounds, then it's like, well, you know, dude, you're just missing. Like you're not doing anything.
Yeah,
Right,
and
you're
that,
not
and by the
committing
way,
to your
the,
offense.
go ahead, Virtuoso.
No. I just feel like Rigo. To me, I think he doesn't believe in his chin, or I don't know, or his punches were not landing enough. But he's a good counter puncher. I'm like, yo, you can take advantage because Casemiro chasing him was like half the battle. Once he got close to him, he was telegraphing his punches, and he could have been in his boxing stance doing this thing.
Virtuoso, I want to point out something important that I noticed, and I mentioned it, but I'm just going to mention it again. Yeah, Casimiro was missing, and Rigondeaux could have taken the opportunity to counter, because like you said, we know he's a good counter puncher, but even though Casimiro was missing with the first punch, he wasn't going to stop throwing. He was going to throw a second and a third punch.
Right,
That's where Rigondeaux understood. If I make this guy miss, he's still going to come at me. Yeah.
Yeah, like to me, Rigo created these scoring conundrums. You know, it was like the fighting styles of these two was like oil and water. You know, you're trying to mix it together. It just can't happen. You know.
And if I may say something,
Casemiro was trying to make it like a brawl, and you know, Rigo was trying to make it a game of tag. You know.
Exactly, and you know what, Virtuoso? If just real quick, another point to make here is that if there's not a lot of being landed, and all things are considered equal, the guy who seems to be wanting to avoid any type of conflict, like Rigondeaux was doing, all out running, he's not going to get the benefit of the doubt. It's going to be the guy who's creating the opponent to run and at least trying to make a fight. That's all things considered. That's what the judge is going to go for. And that's actually, like I said, ring generalship. When you're forcing a guy to run, you're forcing him to engage in that type of non-fighting. So that's the scoring criteria right there as well. Ring generalship.
BDA.
Can you hear me?
BDA.
Yeah, go ahead, Precise.
I wanted
Go
to
ahead,
put
Precise.
BDA.
Hold on. Jeez, Luis. Precise, go ahead.
Yeah, can I explain something to the guy who's so unemotionally involved in this? He's been arguing for Rigondeaux for about an hour now. The difference between what Willie Monroe was doing and what Rigondeaux was doing. First of all, Willie Monroe threw maybe 10 times as many punches as Rigondeaux did, which gave Triple G the opportunity to counter, and the reason why he was able to
he had to.
hold on. And the reason why he was able to throw punches was because he was in his boxing stance. Now I don't know if you know what a boxing stance is, but that's from where you throw clean and effective punching. And the problem with the boxing stance is that you're not supposed to cross your feet. You're supposed to shuffle them. So when you have a guy that's literally running in there, not just moving around a lot, which we like to call running, but literally Usain Bolt motherfucking running in there, meaning crossing his feet and running to the side, there's no way in hell any kind of a boxer using traditional footwork and a boxing stance because he wants to throw punches will ever be able to cut the ring off on him. It's literally impossible. The reason why Triple G was able to do that is because Monroe was in his boxing stance, moving, if you want to call that running, okay, but it wasn't the same kind of running. And because, and one last thing, the boxing stance basically, it limits how fast you can move your feet. But if Rigondeaux breaks away from his boxing stance, A, he ain't boxing, he's not competing in boxing, he is literally running away. I think that's where the misunderstanding comes.
Well, I mean, I wanted to say, everything.
I have a question. Chichimek, I have a question for you.
Hold on.
How much, Chichimek, I have a question for you. How much did you gamble on Rigondeaux this past Saturday?
I just told you. I just said when I came on the show, I didn't bet on the fight because I wasn't a fan of the odds, and I felt like Casemiro was going to win.
By the way, usually, then usually how much do you gamble per fight?
Around anywhere from 500 to maybe 1,000 sometimes. Usually maybe like 100.
But if you thought Casemiro was going to win, why don't you put the money on him?
Because I don't like the odds.
Yeah, he said that in the
I
beginning.
didn't benefit much.
But BD, I just want to say one thing. You got to remember, guys, too, right? This fight wasn't even supposed to happen. Rigondeaux was only in there because Donaire pulled out. So even Al Heyman wanted to make this fight exciting. You know what I mean? Like, this was supposed to be a bang up. That's why he put the fight on the way he did. This was actually when the card was first announced. Imagine if that was Donaire in there, and then that would have been a war. And then unfortunately, with the fucking kids, smacking heads in 16 seconds into the fight, that was crazy.
Yeah,
but anyway,
so make address precise points.
Hold on. I wanted to ask Chichimek too as well. Do you usually win or lose on your bets? Like, what's the ratio?
If I usually lost, If I usually lost, you think I would keep on betting?
Well, you didn't answer my question.
Yes, it's called degenerate gambler.
Yeah, it could be possible that maybe you could.
Guys, real quick. Let me just add something real quick. Hi there, guys. It's PSK, by the way. For me, to give this whole fight perspective, this fight was less entertaining than Fury Klitschko. I think Tyson Fury probably threw more punches winning than either of these two fighters combined in this whole fight. So that should be your perspective. And that fight was disgustingly garbage, and it was a heavyweight fight. So
every round, punches landed within a single digit.
They should be ashamed of themselves. I mean,
PSK, to add to your perspective, that's heavyweights. Heavyweights, larger men are characterized for throwing less punches. Just imagine little guys throw punches.
I mean,
so how worse is that?
It's a disgrace. It's an actual disgrace to boxing.
It was a disgrace.
By
the way, I wanted to ask Chichimek too as well. What's the biggest bet you've ever placed?
The biggest bet I would say was Fury Wilder rematch.
How much you bet on that one?
900.
900, because I mean the thing that when you talk about boxing, you don't really seem to know much about boxing. So I'm just no offense, but I mean
who did you bet? Who did you put the 900 on? Wilder or Fury?
Put on Fury. Why? Why are you asking? Anyways, I wanted to.
Come on, guys. You don't have to be a genius to know that fucking Wilder ain't shit.
So, anyways, I wanted to go back
and
to
also, but this gambling.
Oh, people put money on him though.
Well, yeah, a lot of people said the knockout was gonna be easy for Wilder. He was one punch knockout. Okay, so when's the last time you lost a bet there, Chichimek?
Last time I lost, I've been on a pretty good winning streak, but I would say technically, I guess Castano and Jermel, since it was a draw. I picked Castano to win, but it was a draw, so I guess I lost that one.
And what's the biggest loss? What's the biggest loss you've had?
Ortiz Wilder, the first fight.
Ortiz Wilder. Let me ask something, because you're saying you're betting $500 to $1,000 per fight. May I ask what you do in life to be able to spend this type of money on gambling?
Come on, man! I came here to debate about boxing. I didn't come here to talk about my life.
No, I'm curious about I'm curious about the gambling though, because man, $500 to $1,000, that's beaucoup money, man. You don't have to say exactly
he's in the trap with CJ.
Yeah, you don't have to tell us exactly what you do, but what's the ballpark? What's the what's the in the vicinity? What's the general industry in which you're in?
Rental business.
Rental? You're renting at your ass, or
what?
Are you renting at your ass? Or? I'm kidding. I'm kidding with you. Hey, listen, hold on a second. Let's go to a phone call here. I'm kidding. Jeez, he can handle a couple. He can handle a couple of jokes. Come on, all the bullshit he's throwing at us. Let's go to the phone lines real quick. 205. 205. You're on the air. 205. What's on your mind?
What's up, y'all? What's going on?
I don't know. You tell us, man. What's on your mind?
Man, this Uncle Charles, man. What's happening?
Oh, Uncle Charles, man. Good to hear from you, man.
Uncle Charles.
Yes, sir. Yeah, man. Let me just say this, man. Let me say this, and I like to say this is a great show. This is one of the best shows in the world. It's busting up the seams with a dream. And I'm gonna say this in closing. I am sick and tired of paying for pay-per-views and nobody is ready to fight. Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury, got COVID. Spence, Pacquiao, Detached Retina. Next thing you know, they're going to cancel a fight on my ass is hurt. Now, show me one person that go into the doctor's office and say, give me a prescription because my ass hurt. Which is going to be next? We can't never get a boxing match to go off or come off and where people can enjoy themselves because people are paying hard-earned money. In this country, money is very, very scarce nowadays. So when somebody want to pay for a pay-per-view, how about y'all get y'all ass in there and fight? I am sick of it. Let me explain something to you. We have to expect the unexpected when these guys don't want to fight. The promoters and boxers, they got too much of their hands in these fighters' pockets. And I'm sick of it. It's gotta change at some point. Remember what I said. Beware to expect the unexpected. Let me explain something to you. I'm talking to my father-in-law. He was in Vietnam. And he was in a platoon of 12 men. And one of the pilots said, I see 200 baboons 3 clicks out. He said, retreat. They started running. I said, what kind of baboons was it? He said, the one with the red ass. So I know y'all ass better run. Oh, they went up the palm trees. All of them was in the palm trees. And them baboons was down there growling, and they was making all kinds of noise. And they threw coconuts down at them. And they took the coconuts and ripped them in half like they were drinking a cold Budweiser.
Oh.
I said, well, what did they want? He said, we threw our helmets down the elephant. They didn't want that. I said, well, what else does he want? He said, we threw our MC-16s down there. They didn't want that. I said, well, what did they want? He said, they wanted our clothes. I said, you mean to tell me that y'all up in the tree buck naked with some army boots on? He said, yeah. I said, well, you know what? I know y'all was unexpected, the things you didn't know. But you better be glad they didn't want no coconuts to go. And that's all I got to say, man. I appreciate y'all letting me come on. And I'm sick and tired of being expecting something that I ain't going to get. And I'm sick and tired of it. Fight the damn fight. Get in the ring and prove you the best. And that's all I got to say, bro.
Absolutely. Hey, Uncle Charles bringing the heat again.
God bless.
If there's one thing
God bless.
if there's
I
one
didn't
thing
understand a word you said.
If there's one thing you should bet on is Uncle Charles bringing the energy. Shout out to Uncle Charles. That's a sure bet right there if there ever was one. Real quick, we got another phone call, and then I think I'm going to close the phone lines for today because we already got a lot of people here on the Discord. 347, you're on the air. 347, what's on your mind?
What's going on, BJ Station? You know, I just wanted to say, bro, PBC is dying slowly. You know, Pacquiao, Skatagi, and Benavides, so much Rigo versus Casemiro, it was trash. You know, also there's so much fights that, you know, has been postponed, has been terrible robberies and everything. This is the death of PBC, bro. You know, they're dying slowly, man, and they're not giving the fans what we wanted, bro. You know, and I think Matchroom is starting to pick up. You know, we might be getting GGG versus Murata, Estrada versus Chocolatito 3, and again AJ versus Usyk, etc. White is supposed to fight. Is supposed to announce his fight too. So, man, PBC is dying, bro. But I just want to say, Rigondeaux was social distancing from Casemiro, like 7 days. Dad is with him.
Oh, okay, come on. He's going back to the same joke, and then he hangs up. That's the equivalent of punching a person and running away.
BDA. Hey, BDA. Yo. So I wanted to counter on what I guess his name is Precise.
Oh, jeez, this guy again with this. All right, go ahead.
No. I want to counter what
Well, go ahead.
Precise
Stop announcing
said.
it to the world. Yeah.
Okay, no, I was just saying kind of weird. I don't know what 40-year-old will call himself Precise, but anyways, so when a guy, so let's compare the Monroe fight and the Rigo and Casemiro fight. So the reason why Willie Monroe Jr. didn't move as much side to side because Triple G was cutting that off. You've seen it in the first couple of
So
rounds.
you're just gonna completely ignore the point that I made, and you're gonna say I'm imprecise, motherfucker. Address the point that I made. The guy was in his box. The guy would. No, you're not. You're skirting the fucking point. The guy was in his box.
BDA, Precise is screaming on the panel.
Does that scare you or something? Does that scare?
I was fucking crying like a little bitch. Goddamn right, I'm screaming.
Yeah, I'm not gonna
address his points, man. Address his points.
But why? And why did he have to start out with an insult? Yeah, but why did he start out insulting Precise? Like, why did he have to go there? Like, he couldn't just make his point. He'd have to first start off with a jab with a 40-year-old who calls himself Precise. That's what I thought he said. Maybe he didn't. But it's like, why?
The guy, I think I was right. I made the joke. I made the joke that he's a male prostitute. I think he's a male prostitute because he acts like one of those, very passive aggressive. He doesn't really want to debate. Come on, Chichimek, you're acting like a male prostitute, man. Come on, stop spraying those cheeks and start.
BDA. so BDA. So anyways, back to my counter with the topic that
I think this guy's autistic or something. Go ahead.
So when Willie Monroe, the reason, as I said, Willie Monroe was moving a lot in the first 3 rounds, but he stopped because Triple G caught him on the ropes, and then that made Willie Monroe say, "Hey, there's no point in running. I have to go and take the fight from him," and that's why he lost.
No,
Casemiro couldn't do that against Rigo. That's why Rigo wasn't forced to stop moving because it was working for him.
But
that's not
Precise was making Precise's point. He was scissor moving. His feet were staying in the stance, but sliding left to right. He was dotting in and out, but he was still in a position where if he had to stop on a dime, he could throw a punch. He wasn't turning himself and putting himself in a running stance. I mean, he was explicit in his point, and you didn't address it. That's all I'm saying.
You didn't counter.
I mean, the mental gymnastics you have to do to defend what he did. I mean, come on, man.
I don't know. I think it might come down to when you're seeing stuff that's not really reality, and I think that's what Precise is going through.
But so
you mean he lost. Get out of here. You lost this fucking debate.
A lot of fighters run. A lot of fighters run in certain instances of some fights. Like for example, Oscar De La Hoya Trinidad. I thought De La Hoya was winning that fight, but he gave it away because he got on his bike for the last 2 rounds. When you're running, sometimes it's damn near, I'm just going to say it's almost impossible to catch up with the fighter that employs that strategy. Yes, some fighters run, but they don't do it through the whole course of the entirety of a fight from beginning to end, like Rigondeaux did. He did it like Oscar De La Hoya did in the last 2 rounds against Trinidad. But then again, Oscar De La Hoya made a fight that I thought he was winning, but he gave it away by running the last 2 rounds. You can't run for the whole 12 rounds.
Yeah,
all you gotta do is look at the, all you gotta do. Sorry, just real quick. All you gotta do is look at the punch stats and the fact that Monroe threw many more punches. And again, that's because he was in his boxing stance. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say it's quite funny that he's mentioned that that Precise is like having some kind of delusion or something, because it feels to me that the consensus is with Precise in this particular instance, and this individual seems to be reflecting opinion about himself here, because I think everybody else thinks he's coming from a position of delusion when it comes to comparing Monroe against Golovkin to
It's a group hallucination.
You know, like
group hallucination.
Rigondeaux, reenacting the 2020 100-meter sprint from fucking Tokyo Olympics. You know what I'm saying? It's just crazy. Like this guy is like comparing two different scenarios.
Man character. We're all on ayahuasca. It's Chichi Man, right? That's your name.
Male prostitute. Call him no, you know what it is. You know what it is. I think
that's a Jamaican gay slur.
No, it was like Rigondeaux wanted to get his third Olympic gold in sprinting or something.
Well, let me say something. Let me say something because he's talking about mass delusions. I think the mass delusion is his gambling career. I don't believe he's gambling 500 to 1,000. I think that's another part of the delusion that we got going here. But you know what? It's true because Precise said, and listen, I disagree with Precise. So I'm not just agreeing with everything he says. If he's seeing something that I think is a delusion, I'll call him out on it. In fact, I think I have done in the past. But this whole thing, everyone here agrees that Monroe did not run against Golovkin. Running means moving nonstop. He could have done that against Golovkin, but as I said in that last episode, most fighters don't have the balls to just all out run and say fuck you to the fans. Rigondeaux does have that.
BDA, it's okay to run in certain instances when you're in trouble.
Sure.
Like when Jeff Horn was hurt against Pacquiao, when Keith Thurman was hurt against Josecito Lopez, he got on his bicycle and he was running for dear life. And even when he's running for dear life and the other guy's trying to finish him, he probably can't because the other guy's running, right? And he's hurt. So it's okay to do it in certain instances. But this guy at Rigondeaux, he's running like he's hurt and he's running for dear life, but he's not hurt. So you tell me he's gonna win?
Yeah, exactly. You can't win a fight doing that. It's ridiculous. I think this is a moot point at this point, or a done point. But actually, High and Low Sports Centrum, shout out to him. He contributed with Super Chat. He says, why Rigo didn't fight, why he was fighting. Well, because, again, it could have been also... Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I mean, isn't it obvious? I mean, he's been around the sport for 4 decades. He knows what a fight is boring. He knows what he was doing. Why would he purposely do that? Why would he make that fight so terrible? I'm just saying, it couldn't have been because we've seen him throw more punches. And never mind the fact, like Gonzalez, everybody said it, the left was there on a few times. I said, like, ooh, you could actually, it was there for the taking, and he didn't let it go.
I'll tell you why he did it. I don't. It hasn't dawned on you guys, but check it out. So after he quit against Lomachenko, everybody came down on him, and he was in the fucking doghouse. Yeah. So he came out against C-level Ceja, and fought him toe to toe just to entice us into thinking that his legs are gone or he's trying to fight a more exciting style, and he basically conned the fans into getting another fucking payday because I don't know if you guys remember, Ceja was whooping his ass anyway, and he got that quick stoppage. So he just basically came out pretending to be something he wasn't, just to get another payday off the back of that. And I always knew.
I agree.
I always knew he was going to run against Casimiro because Casimiro is too good of a level of a fighter. He was going to be able to hit him. He hit him. He hurt him. He put him down, and that's all she wrote, man.
Yeah, so I agree. I think the problem is it's the only live body he's fought since Lomachenko, and then he ran. That's literally it.
And I know what people are going to say. People are going to try to say, well, if Casimiro is such a good fighter, why couldn't he catch Rigondeaux? Because again, he's fighting in a completely non-engaging... He's trying not to engage at all, any type of engagement. It would have been the same thing if he would just gone in there and clinch. It's the same thing. There's not much you can do when a guy's not trying not to fight. So when people go, well, Casimiro's trash when it comes to pulling the trigger after cutting off the ring. But he's a high enough level of a fighter that he made Rigondeaux say, fuck this. I don't want to have anything to do with these guys' punching power. Let me just run around the ring. And that was a trash performance because he could have done better. That's the definition of a trash performance.
And I think those punches hurt him in the second round. I think he tasted the kid's power and he didn't want to taste it again.
Absolutely.
Everything else. But remember, he wasn't even supposed to have that fight, too, remember? He was the last minute, well, not last minute, but he was replaced Donaire because... Because Heyman knows he sucks. I don't know.
Yeah, even to back up that point, Heyman replaced Rigo with Donaire, and then he replaced it again after the Donaire shit happened.
Well, but it'll be interesting to see with Donaire and Rigo now, because I think that fight will be very different today than it was, previously.
Oh, for sure.
I was surprised to learn that Rigondeaux had only lost to Lomachenko. I had forgotten. So he probably had the nerve to assume, to think that since he only had lost one time, that the judges were gonna side with him with that type of performance.
Well, listen, I don't think there's much going on.
Quick question.
Yes, go ahead, Apology Man.
What's the Rigo fans? What's his name?
No, he's not a Ringo fan. He's just trying to be. He's just trying to offer different points of view.
No. I'm asking you a question. What's his name?
Chichimek.
Does it matter? Does it matter what my name is?
No, yeah, it does because that's like the caller said. That's a Jamaican slur for a homosexual.
Batty boy, yeah.
Yeah, a batty man.
That's not okay. Do you want to know why I call myself that? It's not a big deal. It's just that's the native tribe my family's from. So that's why I say Chichimek. But it's not a big deal.
It's not a tribe, man. It's not a tribe.
It is. It's
not a tribe.
No. Anyway,
I'm just saying. Where I'm from, that means you're gay.
They were the dog people. They were nomads. They were uncivilized.
You probably have a Spanish last name. How are you from a native tribe when you have a Spanish last name?
Yeah.
What's up with that, bro?
Oh my god! As I said before, it's not a big deal. It's my Discord username, dude. It's not.
I don't understand why every time we ask you a question, every time we ask you a question, you get so defensive. Hold on, every time we ask him a question, he gets so defensive. Hey, well, the gambling. What does it matter? What does it matter? Hey, the trap. What does it matter? What does it matter? Take it easy, dude. It's just we're just asking you questions.
So
just like you ask questions.
Where's you from? Where you from?
Are you from San Francisco, Chichiman?
I'm from Texas, man. What about you?
Okay.
Texas.
I'm from the UK.
Texas.
Good old Texas.
I don't know why are you guys so fascinated with me that you have to ask all these different questions?
It's kind of weird.
I've never heard that slur in a while.
You don't think you're fascinating?
What slur? What slur?
Hold on. You don't think you're fascinating?
Your
Is that what you're
name,
saying?
it means you're gay. That's what it means. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, well, I guess you're assuming I'm gay. I don't know why you think that.
No, because of the name Chichi Man, it sounds like a Jamaican, slur for a game.
That's person. Again.
Yeah.
BDA,
I know. You're from a tribe. You're a tribe.
Hold on, everyone.
No, I'm not. I'm not from a tribe, dude. What are you talking about?
Whatever, dude. It doesn't matter. Like you said, I get it.
Why do you say whatever when you're the one that asked me?
Hey, Chichi Man, motherfucker! I didn't mean to fucking assault you.
Calm down. Hey, let's change gears, guys. Hey,
Chichi Man,
checking out. Real quick. How did you score Teofimo versus Lomachenko? Just out of curiosity.
I had it about 10 rounds with Teo.
But wait, you didn't give Loma points for that virtuoso performance in the first 6 rounds? Didn't he like look better than? I mean, come on, man. Like, how are you gonna do that? How are you gonna do Loma?
Hypocrisy.
Again. Wait,
Big
hold
chichis.
up. Wait. Hold up.
That's actually a good question for all of the worshippers.
No, dude. Hold up.
Hold up.
Everybody, hold up, because I want to say to precise.
Big drama show.
I gave Casemiro the win. I don't know what your deal is, dude. You need to stop assuming things about me and listen to what I say. I said Casemiro won the fight. What's your deal, dude?
10 rounds to 2. That is
well,
awful.
The point, exactly. That's the point, BDA. Because if you're saying that he didn't do that bad, meaning that those rounds were close, okay. So what you're saying essentially is that the first 6 rounds were very close. So you had to have given at least 3 to Lomachenko, and then he dominated. And then he dominated the second half of the fight. So for you to have 10-2, you're a damn hypocrite.
I thought Teo and Loma was actually pretty close, but I thought Teo edged out every round, dude. Again, stop assuming things about me, dude. Listen to what I say.
You just said 10-2. You just said 10-2 Teofimo. So how could I listen to that? That was crazy, man.
Again,
knocked me off my seat.
Yeah, that's insane, man.
10-2, all rounds were close, but I edged 10 of them to Teo. Why is that so hard to understand, dude? You guys are.
It's not hard to understand. It's 100% biased because there's no other excuse other than bias that you would give 10 rounds of that fight to Teo.
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to hear this.
By the way, Chichimek, how high were you when you were watching that fight? Just curious.
Again, I don't do drugs. That's for bad people. I'm clean.
You sound like it, man.
So my question is for Chichimek, right? He scored a 10-2, right? So he obviously gave the 4-6 and the 12th to Teo, right? That's what he did. So what other 2 rounds did you give Teo? Or 3 rounds.
Okay, so
Sorry.
I'm not gonna say what other 2 rounds I gave it to you. I'm just gonna say the 2 rounds I gave to Loma, and that was round 9 and round 10.
So all the
So
rounds before that.
You didn't give him round 8. You didn't give him round 8.
Dude, I think we fell asleep between round 1 and 9.
He was too busy spreading his ass cheeks. No, listen. All those previous rounds where Lomachenko was snapping his head back, you think Lopez edged those? See, that's why, Chichimek, I think you're starting to realize why you were kicked off the Discord in the first place, because you like to instigate, you like to troll, you like the attention, even though you like to say, why are you guys so fascinated with me? Because you want attention. That's why you're coming up with these ridiculous talking points. But you know what? Listen, it's not the first time we've had people like you here. We're just going to keep you around and tolerate you for as long as we can. Who keeps calling me, by the way? Hold on a second. Someone keeps calling me here. Hey, somebody please stop. Whoever's on the Discord, if you want to jump on the panel, I'm going to put the invite here in the chat. You don't have to... Ah, shit, that's not it. Bucho, can you post the...
Yeah, they keep calling me, too. I'm on that list, too. They're calling me.
Hold on a
second.
Same time. Because I can't see who it is. Hold on. It's Boxing Chief. Okay, Boxing
Chief.
If you're listening, just jump on the main Discord, on the text voice. You don't have to... He goes, he's missing.
You know what's another thing? All right. He's going to be all riled up.
Yeah.
If he's listening to this.
Go ahead,
you know what's another thing that I question about certain boxing fans? I don't know what to call them, because it's not the race, it's more of the style. But there's these fans that overly idolize. The more defensive you are, the better you are. That's not true. First of all, and they don't want, and they lack taste in terms of diversity when it comes to styles and stuff like that. And they want that overly defensive Shakur Stevenson, Floyd Mayweather style, if you know what I mean. Not Pretty Boy, but Money May.
Let's just cut the crap though, man. What do most of these people have in common?
Oh, come on. We just...
You already know, but I'm mainly talking about the style.
Okay, and what do most of the people who use that style have in common?
I'm not trying to get the show shut down, but you know what it
come
is.
on, man. What's the matter with you?
Well, it's just African American. It's nothing to be like. I mean, they're proud of it. It's not degrading. That's a style that's become a lot of African Americans have adopted. It is what it is. Eastern Europeans haven't, right?
I don't know. If you gotta say something, say it, because it makes you look bad. Just say black.
Look.
If you're thinking black, say black.
I know
that's not it, man. Because I wasn't gonna say to Jimmy. I don't think that's it, because you got to remember, a lot of Black American fighters are in history. They're very aggressive fighters, dude. So again, you're back to assuming things, bro. You gotta,
I'm not assuming nothing. I'm not assuming. Okay. Other than Token Plant, let's go through the slick fighters. Every one of them are African American.
No,
every one of them. And I'm saying this has started since Floyd, brother. Back in the day, let's still tell me about what happened back in the day. I was watching boxing when you were still swimming in your daddy's nutsack, son. So you know what I mean? Please.
Let's go ahead and be objective here. Jimmy's point. Let's look at Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, Sugar Ray Robinson. There are many fighters that do fit that mold that happen to be of African American descent. Now, you have very few Caucasian fighters that fit the same one, like Willie Pep. Okay, that's about all I could think of Caucasian-wise.
Okay, let me say now.
P-Rog.
Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, Willie Pep, Caleb Plant. You have a lot of fighters.
Willie Pep.
Well, see, I'm still naming Hall of Fame of all-time great fighters. You mentioned Plant and Billy Joe Sanders. So
okay,
you have a point.
Consider Rigo Hall of Fame fighter.
Let me finish. You do have a point there.
Absolutely
they are Caucasian
not.
Fighters. You do have a point that they're Caucasian fighters that do have that kind of a style, and I'm acknowledging you there. But as far as all-time great fighters, and on a lesser scale on the African American side, Zab Judah, he fits that mold too. Pernell Whitaker, he's an all-time great. So I'm going to stop now because I've interrupted you a few times. I'm sorry about that. But
hold on, I think Mark had a point to make about that as well. Mark, he hasn't talked a lot. Mark, go ahead, please.
No, I just got really pissed off when he said you could consider Regan there a Hall of Fame fighter. No, you fucking couldn't. How the fuck do you do that? How do you do that?
That didn't come from my mouth.
Hold up, dude. People, look, I said, do you consider Rigo a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? Because you brought him up. So I brought up Billy Joe and Tyson Fury. Are they Hall of Famers? No. So why bring up Rigo? He's not out there either. But look, back to it. Look, back to it though. So what if it's this? Okay, are more boxers or in pro boxing? More black boxers. There's more blacks in boxing than there is Caucasians, which means that you're gonna find a more diversity among different styles among blacks than there is with whites. Again, I don't really care
There
about
used
race.
to be
I'm not here to talk about race.
That's such
What's
an
happening,
interesting thing. Where did you get that statistic from? That there's more black boxers than
Good
white boxers?
question. That's a good question.
At the top level, there's more blacks. I mean, at least in America, there's more blacks than there is whites.
Race.
So you-
Okay, but hold on. Hey, hold on. Everyone's talking at the same time. Hold on. Shh. Mark asked him a direct question. Where did you get that statistic? And you didn't answer the question.
I mean, honestly, if I'm going to be honest, I just kind of went off my observation of what I see in pro boxing.
So you're assuming what you tell people all the time not to do. Are you assuming? I'm telling you, I don't know what you're smoking. I wish I had it because I'm having a headache trying to juggle all the people here at the same time. You gotta mail me. Well, actually, that would be illegal, so don't do it. But just give me the name of whatever it is you're smoking, man. Because if it's numbing your brain that much, man, I gotta get myself some of that. By the way.
Look, BDA, I'm tired of you putting down pot smokers, man. I smoke it habitually. I make way better points than this dude.
Bro. I'm stoned as a fart right now, dude. I'm wrecked, and I know what's going on.
Hey, but I wanted to bring something up too. Because I said we were gonna keep this short, but I want to introduce this point as well. It came out that Errol Spence's retina, apparently, it's not just partially damaged; it's torn, actually fucking torn. Now, from what I can see here,
right?
Detached, yeah. So from what I can see here on Google, cursory research on Google, it says a retinal detachment refers to the full lack of attachment. This is more severe than retinal tears. The longer that a detached retina remains detached, the greater risk of permanent vision. Now, Steve Kim wrote an article about that where he was talking with Sugar Ray Leonard about detached retinas, and they were talking about how a doctor can't really pinpoint when the damage was occurred. So if people are going to say, well, maybe it was during the car crash or was it during sparring, it's difficult to say. Sometimes it's a spectrum of damage taken across. Yeah, go ahead.
Well, BDA, to your point, the blood pooled. I mean, look at his mugshot, and it's not blood from it's not blood in his eye from a bruised so much from like a black eye. He had pooling in the back of his eye. You can see it's in the back. So at some point he did do damage. I just have to question a full retina detachment. And he's walking around fucking sparring people, doesn't know that? I mean, you start getting, again, when it goes from slight tear all the way to full attachment, like I find that really hard to believe it was fully detached. Unless it was torn and then got fully detached when he got whacked upside the head training. But the fact that he never even knew it took the guy in NASDAQ to catch it, it just seems odd to me. That's all I'm going to say.
Yes. Just add to that BDO.
He probably got hurt in the Danny Garcia fight because Andy Garcia landed some good right hands and he got cut. Remember guys, he got cut on the cheekbone. So if he's already damaged goods, you know, he's gonna start breaking down from now on. I think he got hurt in the Danny Garcia fight. That's my opinion.
That was my point. So it can't have been from the car crash because how would he have passed his medical for the Danny Garcia fight? So it would have, if it did happen, it would have happened.
Can I address that for you, brother? Can I address that from what I was told? And I'm verifying this, and I think in Texas they use a different type of test. They don't put as much money. I guess they don't use the same. They don't go to the same degree in checking the author, whatever the fucking doctor is. Now this is where the weed comes in. Yeah, thank you. Comes into play. But yeah, they do not do the same amount of testing in Texas.
I mean, they let Margarito.
That was the excuse that they originally gave.
They let Margarito fight Pacquiao.
Hello? Yeah, I mean, you can just pay a fucking
Can
doctor.
I say something?
Who? Yeah. Oh, okay. Go ahead, mate.
And it's not. But if you've ever been in a bad accident, I've been in a bad accident where I'm riding my bike and you get hit by a drunk driver. I've been in those type of situations, and sometimes injuries don't appear till maybe a year later, months later. You start waking up with like body ache, or you just notice you start getting bruised easier, or you start getting cut up easier. It happens.
I think it's Chichim. I think Chichimek's the one that ran into you. But by the way, is this? I said Maine. What's your name? You said. Because I said Maine and you said no, it's not.
I donate as not.
A main H.
Nah,
Okay, well, not. Oh, not KNOT. All right. Okay.
Oh,
Cool.
nah.
Anyway,
I thought you
who
said
else wants
nah.
to? Who else wants to comment on this? On the detached retina thing? The speculation that's going around.
I guess.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Did they show any proof of medical proof that this is what happened, or they're just, reporting it that's what happened to him?
This is pretty much what the State Athletic Commission put out. So
That's okay. Okay, so the State Athletic Commission said that they found a detached retina.
Yeah, after the surgery.
It's
But if
the
that's
same
the
doctor
case-
as the Billy Joe one after Canelo.
Yeah, but if that's the case, he ain't coming back in 2 months, and if he is, then the shit ain't detached.
Yeah, it can't be detached if he's back in 2 months and he's resuming, back to training for boxing, which means getting hit.
Yeah,
he's getting hit.
Didn't Abanamara suffer the same injuries, not fought since? Come on.
Yeah, I just want to say, man, that Billy Joe injury is definitely legit. If you look, there's a photo that came out of him.
Come on, man. That's not
Hold
what we're
on.
talking about.
Hold on. There's a photo that came out of him. You can pull it up, and his eye is fucked up, man. Like the shape of it is fucked up.
I'll get the picture and post it in the Discord.
They say that the eyelid is raised higher than the one on his I think the left side.
Yeah, I have that
it-
too, bro.
and-
Right now, I guarantee you, nobody broke. Wait, real quick, I have that same thing too, and nobody broke my Nobody broke my.
What
fucking,
it is, the deformity that you see is that his cheeks are getting puffier. He looks like a squirrel.
Ah, okay, that's different. Maybe that's different.
Well, let's stick to the Errol Spence thing because, again, would it be fair to say that this all depended on how long he's out? Because, I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard was saying, hey, man, modern medicine, it's fantastic, this and that. But I'm thinking, can it really...
Sugar Ray was out for like 2 years, right? I didn't mean to interrupt you, BDA, right? But wasn't he out for like a good, almost close to 2 years?
Around three. Around
No,
three.
I'm talking about with the Tommy Hearns injury. The Tommy Hearns injury, remember that? He fought like within 2 or 3 years, he may have had like 1 or 2 fights.
Well, wasn't it 82? Well,
but the operation, it's a lot less evasive today. They could use lasers and different things. They don't have to cut in deep, you know what I mean? They've come a long way since, the 80s with that. But even then, he knew exactly when he had it detached. Like, I'm never, no matter what, nobody's going to convince me this kid was walking around with a detached retina and didn't realize. Wasn't fucking sick and vomiting and wicked receptive to the light and all this other shit.
Right. He's a savage.
Okay, yeah, but he would have like major eye floaters. He'd probably be seeing double. He would have all kinds of fucked up vision if he had a detached
No,
retina
he
for a
wouldn't.
while.
No,
Why
he
not?
wouldn't. Because I've gotten that before and I didn't see that. So
You had a
this is
detached
super
or a torn retina?
torn.
Okay, he has a detached retina.
And his is fully detached.
Thank you.
It's a lot more severe than a torn retina. A torn retina could be a very
course
tiny,
it
tiny
is.
tear. Yeah.
So relating Ray Leonard back to this, it kind of works like this. Ray did have a swollen eye against Tommy Hearns, where I don't remember if it was actually that fight that detached it or if it came after, but he did have one title defense. He took some time off. He came out of retirement for a while, and that one fight where he got knocked down, and he re-retired again. And then from that fight to Hagler was roughly about 3 years. 3 years, if I remember correctly. Okay.
Yep.
But and he's an exception, not a rule, because I like to say, like, if the guys that don't party and keep a clean lifestyle, Leonard didn't do that during that retirement phase, and he's openly admitted that later. Somehow or another, he was able to come back and still have a successful career. I'm not convinced that Spence is going to be able to do that same thing, live in the party lifestyle outside of the ring, if in fact he still has one, while he's waiting for that to get better, take off 3 years, and at 35 years old, come back. Because let's face it, he's almost 32. 3 years, he's going to be almost 35. I'm not positive he's going to be able to do that.
And he kills himself to make 147.
And he's been doing it for a while. Ray was not killing himself to make 147. There's a big difference there. And you make a very valid point there, my friend. I don't know who you are, but you make a very good point. So this could be the end of him being whatever anyone considers dominant for the rest of his career.
Well, you know what?
I was going to say too. Listen, the the difference between a torn retina, like, or a tear, having a slight tear in your eye, in your retina, and having a detached retina is the difference between having a fractured bone and a compound fracture when that shit's sticking out of your jeans. You know what I mean? Like, it's a big fucking, you're not going to go still walking with a compound fracture because you're going to go put weight on it. It's going to fold out from under you. You know what I mean? Like, so that to say that it's the same, like you walked around with, no, you might have walked around with a little bit of a tear. That happens. Old people walk around them all the time, but not with a detached retina. That shit eventually you go blind with that shit.
Spence is done, man. Spence, he'll never beat Crawford. Like, there's no way
Jimmy,
he'll have the body to beat Crawford.
They were
To
never
beat
going to
anybody.
fight anyone. They were never
To
going to
beat
fight
anyone. Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree with that.
can I ask Jimmy something? Because I remember weeks ago, I think it was a couple episodes ago actually, he had mentioned that they had to know weeks or months in advance. So did they know right after the Danny Garcia fight that he's damaged goods, and then they still went along with promoting the pay-per-view to get pre-buys, or was it just
Well, listen, that's a lot of people. Well, I'm going to say a lot of people think that because remember, they did a pre-sale on the pay-per-view, knocked $5 or $10 off or whatever if you pre-bought it. How many people do you think ended up buying it? And I guess if you know, I don't know if you can get your money back. I don't read this fine print. I didn't look it, but a lot of people are saying it. And yes, they could have said. Or another thing to that point, remember he saw 3 more doctors, and so like a few people on this panel who have dealt with eye doctors. Know that it's very hard to see 3 doctors in 24 hours, especially eye specialists. So that makes me think, yeah, maybe they did catch it. They might have known it was a torn. But then again, I can't see him continuing to spar. But was he really sparring? He didn't do a media workout. I guess that was supposed to be,
Well, there was that leak sparring session. Remember, there was that leak sparring session that he was getting pretty, he was getting hit up a lot. They leaked
I want to see that too because remember they said there's a tattoo. I just want to check on that because somebody said they seen it and he now has a tattoo where there isn't one in the video. If that's the case, is it older?
Well, fellas, let me ask you this because we're all speculating about whether he'll fight. This is boxing. This is a sport where fighters are milked for all that they are worth. Would it surprise you to see the PBC maybe knowing that Spence shouldn't really be fighting? Would you surprise you if they put him in there anyway? Maybe for one fight? Because, I mean, Layman Brewster's eye was all fucked up.
Yes.
He fought in.
Yeah,
I wouldn't surprise
They'll feed him to Canelo. They'll feed him to Canelo if they can. If they can, they'll give it to him at 160 and try to catch out with Spence that way. And
That's
just
a good
skip
point.
Crawford. And just skip Crawford. Just duck him completely.
They'll duck Crawford, and they might put him in against his buddy Charlo if they can make that arrangement without a conflict of interest. And because they can make a little money off of that, and if he's not too much damaged goods, that's when they'll cash in with Canelo.
Right now, they're working on a deal with Canelo to fight. What's his name? Caleb Plant, right? So that's for from what I'm reading. That's in November. Maybe they can entice him for a second fight against what's his name? Spence. And in somewhere next year, 2022. And just
like
get rid of it.
when it's really just damaged goods welterweight versus
But Canelo would take it.
For sure. And that's what I'm saying. I just think it's going to be very annoying how they're going to promote it as a pound for pound fight when it's just damaged goods welterweight versus juiced up super middleweight.
No, they won't do that. Don't be surprised if they give him the NS too. Don't be surprised. That's PBC tactics right there. You feed a guy, a guy that has a following to another guy you want to build up. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did that too.
And Canelo's never going to 160 again. Everybody can put that out of their mind. He'll never see 160 again.
Yeah, but you can
Why would he?
Why would he? 165. You can make
exactly. He's making all the fucking. He's gonna. Why put himself through it? The growth hormone has really fucking changed his body structure. He'd kill himself to make 160.
So Jimmy, actually, guys, Jimmy and who spoke before Jimmy? Would you? I can't see anybody's name. Okay, well,
Mayonnaise.
He made a very good point, and I think he's exactly right. If Boots is getting enough, excuse me, if he's getting enough momentum in between Spence coming back, that's exactly what they'll do. 165 in another year? No, Canelo's not doing that. I don't care who it is. especially if he goes up to 175 soon. He's not going to lose 10 more pounds of muscle to come down and fight Errol Spence at welterweight.
Canelo's not going to 175. He's not doing that. He's going to stay in 168. He's working out that deal with Caleb Plant. Well, no, listen.
Frank, we're still talking
he's hold on. He's working on a deal with Caleb Plant. Where do you think that fight's going to take place? 168.
Okay, we're talking a year from now.
We're not talking about the rest of 168. He's just trying to wrap it up.
Right.
But you're telling me that 275, but he's fighting Plant next. That fight's almost sealed.
You mean to tell me that he wouldn't fight Bivol or Beterbiev?
Especially if the money's right. Once he cleans that division up, what else is there other than having to fight Benavidez?
Well, what I'm talking about is that if he could work out a 2-fight deal with, PBC, right? Fox, whatever. PBC and Fox.
Or three.
All three. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Why after, let's say he beats Caleb Plant, assuming he beats him.
Right.
Beats Caleb Plant is undisputed. You're telling me it would be impossible that he would have one more fight at 168 against Errol Spence at a catchweight? Come on, man.
Well, what's with all this Canelo talk? The guy's
come
fights
on.
are boring. He's got boring fights.
That's just a wacky
his
fight.
career is a fucking bore. Like, why are we wasting time talking about this scrub Canelo? Let's talk about real fighters, man. The guy's boring. He fights in a boring division. No one watches his fights, man. Come on, man. Let's come on.
Yeah.
No. Seriously though. Spence, if he does have a detached retina, and the talk is of cashing him out, it's not gonna be against Boots. It's gonna be probably fucking Canelo or some shit like that.
Canelo is the face of boxing, whether you like it or not.
Okay, so face of boxing or not, we're talking a year from now, and what may Boots be in a year from now? If you've got damaged goods and you can pass the torch on to, and I'm not saying you're wrong, Precise. You could be right. He can max out that cash out with Canelo. Obviously, they will. But if nothing can be reached, if it can't be arranged in a year from now, if it doesn't look like Spence is anywhere going to be near healthy enough to cash that out, especially since they're not going to keep Canelo because they're not, then you might as well cash in with in-house, which is what PBC is known to do, and the in-house thing to cash it out with.
Spence is not going to take that fight. Spence would rather take another Mikey rematch than get fed to, because it's going to be so obvious. We're feeding you to Boots. No, Spence has worked his way up. However you feel about his career, it is what it is. He's probably the third, if not the second most popular PBC fighter. If they cash him out, in my opinion, it's going to be in the big fight. Big fight.
Yeah,
maybe. But you got to remember one thing.
They'd make the biggest name possible, and it still would be
Pacquiao. You got to remember. You've got to remember.
Pacquiao still hangs around, you got to do the president gig.
It's just like in Rocky V. You're gonna fight who I tell you, when I tell you, and how I tell you, and that's how Al Heyman does it. So
that's what I'm saying. Al Heyman, he will, like, people think it's impossible that he would go fight Canelo. If Al Heyman says you're fighting Canelo, I see that happening.
But
Al Heyman saying
there's no upside for him to beat for Canelo to beat him, because what's not going to help Al Heyman, because
Canelo fought Yildirim, bro. Canelo fought Yildirim. There was no need for him to fight him.
Think about it from Al Heyman's perspective.
That's what it is. It's a big paycheck. It's a cash out.
Yeah, but think of Al Heyman's perspective. Like,
I'm thinking about it in Al Heyman's perspective.
One at a time.
That's what I mean is. Sorry, go ahead, brother. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, you were finishing your point. I'll jump in right after you, though.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, for Al Heyman, if we want to play the long game, he would want to build a new superstar in his own roster to replace Spence, not add to Canelo's stardom, which already exists. Because Canelo's a network free agent. There's no upside other than a short-term paycheck. That's what I'm trying to say. I don't understand why he'll be fed to Canelo. He would be fed to somebody in the PBC to make him the new pay-per-view star, so they can get their new contract with Fox, not Canelo. That's just my opinion. But
I'd probably just double down on Gervonta Davis or some shit like that.
Does this mean that the Crawford fight is dead?
Please, Chief had asked to.
This is a nail in the coffin, right? For the Crawford fight, we're never going to see Spencer's Crawford, right?
Main H, hold on, please. Chief, go ahead.
Unless they keep him to Crawford.
Hold on, please, Chief, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll get in there after.
So we've said that fact already that this is pretty much the nail in the coffin for Crawford. You guys are right. We're all in agreement here. he pretty much said what I was going to say, is that if you're going, Al Heyman looks at the long term also. And the long term is, if you think that Spence doesn't have anything left, if Boots Ennis is rising up and he needs something to make him the star, right? And everyone's starting to get that traction. Are you going to cash in with Canelo now? And Precise, you could be right, Precise. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just bringing up a counterpoint. The in-house money that's going to keep my business going longer is to cash him in with Boots than it is to do the quick money now with Canelo. So,
well, not necessarily because well, can I say something? I don't know what not necessarily because Errol Spence wouldn't be fighting Canelo at 147. So the title would probably be left to where Boots Ennis can capture the 47 titles. Then Errol Spence would move up in division, so he could still cash him out while keeping Boots Ennis as a star.
That's right.
Well, I have to jump in here and say shout out to Texas Bulldog for his contribution with the super chat. He says, I respect Jimmy, but him and others are wrong on Spence. I mean,
wrong about what?
I don't know what that means.
Spence is pretty much done. Like,
I got a good
Man down
idea.
fanboy.
Heyman, if you're listening, make Spence fight Canelo, and when Spence gets obliterated, you already know that the people who like your fighters are really stupid, so just make a new Glovegate and then have him fight Boots afterwards, and it will have the same amount of interest.
No. Listen, Al, if you're listening, sell the PBC.
Yeah, you know what, L-Dog, you should change your name to L-Dog. You should change your name to L Gold, because that was gold, Jerry, gold. Now listen, we have to go because I said we were gonna keep this at 2 hours. But hey, before all of you go, we're gonna be doing another open panel on Friday after the Wayne for the Pacquiao Ugas. I was gonna say mega fight, but anyway, for that big pay-per-view fight. So. Everybody, drop in. Well, Chichimek, if you want to take a break, don't feel bad about it that day. But, we're going to do an open panel on Friday. Again, Discord. And everyone's, if you can come in. All right, fellas. So, I want to give a shout out to everybody. What was that? What?
You know what I've been noticing? BDA is getting more ruthless lately. He's not the same.
I disagree.
Yeah,
He's letting the fame get to him. He's letting the fame get to him. That's what
it's like the movie Training Day. Know when the cholos get fucking the cop and he says, "Hey, you're ruthless," but I like that.
Ever since you started that membership
it's very
program,
easy.
you got
It's very
power hungry,
easy
man.
to be ruthless on Discord, dude. It's very easy to do that on Discord.
He's gonna.
Okay.
He's got the. He's got
All
the
right,
fucking.
Pablo.
He's got.
Hey Rachel, who's the girl in your? Hey Rachel, who's the girl in your profile?
Found that shit on the interwebs.
Hey, listen,
Chichimek,
can I say something, please? Can I say something, please? Chichimek, I'm busting your balls a little bit. Come on, man, you were asking for it, so I gotta give it back. I gotta strain you out a little bit.
What's his name? What you call him?
Chichimek.
Chichimek.
That's a bad name.
Don't go. Hey, listen, Chichimek, don't go all tribal on me. Don't scalp. Chichimek, don't go all tribal on me. Don't scalp me. Don't give me any fucking.
You should learn what they call Chichiman.
Yeah.
Gonzalo meant in general too. He meant not just today's show. So I mean, you take everything like we're not fascinated. It's not fascinated about you, and he wasn't talking about you, dude.
Well, listen, I'm just trying to spearhead a movement here, So let's bury the hatchet and move on with it. Now, listen, fellas, we do have to move on. We do actually have to move on because again, I don't want to.
And I was gonna say about you guys.
Too long. I said
I want to say, how come
Chichimek? I said we have to go. What's the matter with you, Chichimek? I said we have to go. The show's ended.
I want to talk about you guys though, because I had a point about you guys.
But we have to go. Do you understand what I said? That we have to go. It's over. The show's over. We got to move on.
Save that note.
Save that note. Yeah. All right. Yeah, because
thanks for having me on, BD. I didn't get to say anything, but
yeah, sorry about that, Steven.
I tried.
Sorry about that,
That's
Steven.
your fault.
Sorry about that, Steven, but yeah, we have to go, man. And again, full house. We'll try to I'll try to regulate it better next episode. But again, next episode will be open Discord as well. So shout out to everybody. Don't forget to hit the like button. Hit that like button, very important. I want to thank everybody that joined. I want to thank everybody that joined here on the Discord. Really appreciate it, fellas. Like I said, hit the like on the way out. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Shout out to the BDA members. Don't forget to check. I'm going to be dropping that Benavides film analysis. And I want to give a shout out to everybody that donated with the super chat as well. For some reason, I can't see the names. Fucking YouTube. But anyway, you guys know who you are. Thank you for your contributions. Really appreciate it. And that's about it. Listen, fellas, we'll be back on Friday. Make sure to have any questions ready if you want, and we'll catch you in the next one.
All right, you guys take care. God bless.
All right, thank you.
I'm
Good night.
disappointed in every one of you.
I kiss you on the mouth.
No, I'm not cool with that. I'm sorry.
One more time. I'm disappointed in every one of you.
I mean, I'm dealing with degenerate